Preparations for Starship Flight 8 are ramping up, a Falcon 9 second stage has suffered a small issue, and an asteroid is coming right at us, maybe, on this week's Flame Trench.
And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be nominal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Rolling up. Roger, roll, Atlantic.
Water towers fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside ST off. Bring in ST off. Off. It's orange!
R25. Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage. What is it? Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You good? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Hello and welcome to the Flame Trench. It's the trenchiest. It's our informal weekly news show where we talk about the events of the week and we get a little bit spicy because, after all, it is the Flame Trench. I'm Jack Beyer for NSF, and joining me, as always, are our ever-competent cohort of co-hosts. We got the standard squad this week, starting off with EJ. How you doing, buddy? EJ?
Huh?
I don't think that folds out, if that's what you were trying to do.
Yeah, you're probably right. Hey, how you doing? Hey, what's going on?
Oh, you know, gearing up for a spicy trench this week. It should be a good one. What book was that? That looked like a good one.
This is Space Shuttle Stories by astronaut Tom Jones.
Nice. I'll have to
Great.
add it
Great
to
book.
my queue.
Yeah, you should.
But yeah, thank you for jumping in the trench this week with us, EJ. Also joining us this week is Sawyer, who appears to have transcended reality. Sawyer, do we still have you in this realm? You're muted.
Muted?
You're muted.
I was in a totally another reality that it even took my breath away and my sound away. Sorry, I was just experiencing a world where the space shuttle was still flying and there wasn't an asteroid that was heading directly towards us. And it was nice. Why'd you have to take me out of it?
It's only 2.3% likely. It's only 2.3. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Also, in that reality, you had hair, Jack. It was very entertaining.
I mean, I did have hair at one point. I did have long hair.
We've seen it. We've seen it.
We don't need to talk about that, though. What we do need to talk about is chat, YouTube chat. If you have any questions for us throughout the show, you can interact with us. Type at NASASpaceflight into chat, and we'll see your questions pop up in some software we have running in the background. And there's no questions right now. So if you have any questions, now's probably a good time to ask them.
Don't make me open up the panel chat.
EJ. I mean,
Don't make me do it. Don't make me do it.
Did they give you credentials to that?
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I must have missed that. That's terrifying.
Dangerous. Very dangerous.
What sort of questions would EJ select from the queue? I don't know. That's okay. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, make sure you mention at Ford Trucks, and it'll appear in EJ's specific software.
Where?
Well, do we want to jump right into the trench this week and start talking about the asteroid that might kill us all? But not really.
I am ready to talk about death.
Honestly, this is... and Scott Manley just had a fantastic video on this, as he always does. It's sort of a pattern, right, where we'll discover an object, we'll look at all the data that we've gathered about it, and we'll figure out, okay, this is actually more probable than our first initial scraps of data. But as time goes on, as we get more observations, we'll refine the uncertainty down to a point where it's like, okay, no, it's not going to hit us. Maybe it'll come by really close. Maybe it'll hit us way out in the future. But I think the more interesting thing about this news item, or whatever you want to call it, is not any one specific encounter with a near-Earth asteroid. It's at some point one of these observations or one of these finds is going to be one that actually has a really decent chance of hitting Earth, and not just going to be one we can joke about and be like, haha, like something that will require the mobilization of multiple nations' effort to, meaningfully help humanity. Like we did DART, we did the double asteroid redirect test. That was an amazing mission. So I'm not super worried about something like this personally. I'm just monologuing at this point. But I am more worried about our ability to work together well enough to get a meaningful effort work together should we encounter an asteroid that actually is like significantly threatening Earth, and it's not like 2%, we'll figure it out, it's fine. I don't know, like I'm sure we're getting some questions at this point about it, so I will jump into the queue. Am I wrong? Am I way off base? Should I be taking it way more seriously and not joking about it? Is that not cool? Like I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, the thing is, and this was pointed out in the original tweet that we saw on screen there, is the fact that yes, it is a greater than 1% chance of impact, but it is a less than 98% chance, I guess, technically, or there's a greater than 98% chance of it missing. So, I mean, it's something that obviously needs to be in the forefront of our minds, because it was 1.9%, now it's 2.3%, and I think it's more the fact, the scariest part of all of this is that we don't actually have a solution for it right now. Sure, we have the DART test and things like that, but if we were to say right now, okay, we need to stop this thing, we could probably come up with something by 2032, but we don't have anything on hand that can just go, all right, let's move this, let's redirect it, let's do something to it to save our butts.
Right. And oh man, just like even having these sorts of conversations is kind of weird and surreal, and it doesn't feel real, but it's something that should be definitely taken seriously, I think.
I mean, I agree, and hopefully this becomes a wake-up call. I don't think it's going to be, because again, the percentage is so small, and there's all these different things we're tracking, and it's also worth noting this is just one that we've tracked. There's so many more that we have no track on that probably have a similar trajectory. So have fun sleeping at night.
EJ, you look lost in thought. Any words of wisdom to those of us who might be losing sleep at night over something like this?
I don't think it's anything to lose sleep over. It's a very low probability that this thing is going to come near us, right? Like, but also at the same time, this is a higher probability than most. Fortunately, we have the outer rim gas giant planets like Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune to an extent. Because they have such a crazy grav well, it's very unlikely that something's going to come in here. But, the dinosaurs also are sitting in the back going, yeah, really unlikely, huh, pal? Like, no, it's definitely something that we should be concerned with. Like, I mean, Jack, like the way I look at it is, okay, so say we're in the scenario right now where this thing's actually coming at us and we're pretty dang sure that it's going to hit this planet.
Yeah.
What are we going to do about it?
Let's Bruce Willis it, man. You get 2 shuttles, you launch them, you get some oil field workers, you play some
shuttles are in
Aerosmith,
museums.
man.
Yep.
No.
We need to protect Bruce Willis at all costs. Save him. Keep him alive till 2032.
Steve Buscemi. Honestly, I think you launch like a Ship 26 style impactor, but I'm not a physicist or a astromechanicist.
What rocket is going to do this? What rocket is going to do this mission? You're going to launch. You need something pretty big to move that big of an
Starship.
asteroid.
Like I said, like basically, Ship 26 would be vindicated because that would become a flapless impactor. Just fill the nose cone full of as much tungsten as you can carry, and then what is the? This is the impactor from DART, the last frame where it's red.
I thought that looked like OREX.
Maybe
It looked like Osiris-Rex.
Okay, OREX, my bad. But yeah, I don't know. Like put some solid motors on a Starship, and just yeet that thing as fast as you possibly can at an asteroid, and then just smack it. I don't know. That'd be cool.
Oh, that was dark.
In your face.
Yeah, right. Yeah. The thing that I'm trying to get at, dude, is You know what the best way to solve this problem is? Having a really, really healthy space program. Because then, if we're say sometime in the future we have a transportation link between Earth and Mars, right? Like Starships, Elon is successful and SpaceX is successful at everything that they want to do. We have a Mars colony. We're routinely sending ships back and forth at cycler orbits. I can dream, right? If we figured out how to do that and do that reliably, like deflecting an asteroid is not going to be that big of a deal. Right? That's not that big of a deal. Right now, though, you're like, oh, let's put something on Starship, but we're nowhere near doing anything like that. SpaceX, well, I say relatively. SpaceX isn't relatively anywhere near like that. If we didn't have something like Starship, this is like, we don't have shuttles. Those are in the museum, right? Not that those shuttles could get anywhere near an asteroid.
Right,
but,
right. I was making an Armageddon joke. Come on, don't take me too seriously.
Yeah, I got you. No, I got you.
But no, like I hear your point. But also thinking about Starship program 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, come on. 4 or 5 years ago, it was a tent or a water tower manufacturing company, building Starhopper. 4 or 5 years from now, given an existential threat, unlimited resources, do I think SpaceX could pull off an impactor mission with Starship? Absolutely. They just practically pulled one off over the Turks and Caicos.
Damn.
It's the flame trench. Come on. It's supposed to be a little bit spicy. Come on.
I thought I would give you the spicy one today.
We have a size comparison. Let's look at the size comparison.
You bet. Concur.
Oh, we have. That whole thing. Interesting. There's a 747. Everyone knows a 747. Everyone loves a 74. We have the Tunguska meteoroid, which if you've not seen the Chelyabinsk. Oh my God. Chelyabinsk. Thank you so much. Tunguska and Chelyabinsk. Tanagra and Jalad.
What a show.
I'm going to butcher it. Darmok? It's Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra. That's what it is. There we go. The brain cells.
I think some of those
are starting to fire. But yeah, interesting size comparison. So it's big. It's not to be trifled with. It's definitely the kind of thing where if that smacks into a populated area, you're gonna have a bad time. And so
if that slams into the planet, we're gonna have a bad time.
Right.
You want climate change. It's a real good way to get it really fast.
The cooling will balance out the warming and everything will be fine minus the horrible tragedy.
All right,
you omitted some details there.
Yeah, that. So the real question then is, who's going to be Jennifer Lawrence screaming on television, "We're all going to die"?
I'll do that.
Okay,
right,
cool.
Cool. Thank you.
You got the Jennifer Lawrence figure going. I get it.
Yeah. I've been carb cutting. Working. It's almost swimsuit season.
That, or can we at least redirect it to this year's Super Bowl? Because I don't like either team. I'm rooting for that meteorite to wipe us out. Although it's not going to actually wipe us out. I think that's the important thing to talk about. This is, yes, it's huge, but it's not a human ender.
It's not a world ender, but it's definitely like a city destroyer.
Yeah.
And as EJ said, it could definitely throw up. Hitting the right and or wrong spot, it could definitely throw up a large amount of ejecta that would then, suddenly it's winter for way too long. I don't know. It's crazy to think about this stuff, and I do feel like every couple of years, one of these near-Earth objects enters into the news cycle, and after a couple of weeks, when we've had enough time to observe it, the probability goes down to essentially zero, and everyone stops paying attention. And that's great, because not getting hit by an asteroid is great. But like you were saying, Sawyer, hopefully this is somewhat of a not a wake-up call, because we've made movies about it. It's not something humanity's unaware of, but it's, like we've all said so far, like something we should probably take seriously, because at some point we're going to have to.
What was it? Don't Look Up, the one I was referencing, that right. Just came out a couple years ago on Netflix. So it's not like it's, we're talking Armageddon from the 90s. We're talking recent. They're still making movies about it. It's nice that we're doing things like OSIRIS-REx to study them. It's nice that we're doing DART to be able to test in the event of something like this happening. Well, we need something. I mean, yes, most of the time we're going to have enough notice to be able to plan in advance, but it shouldn't be a last minute, oh no, this is a bad thing. It should be, we're ready for this, we know what we need to do, and just give us a year or two and we can get this thing launched and on its way. Because you're going to have to calculate trajectories, account for the fact that rockets are still rockets and something could go wrong. You know, it's one of those. We've seen movies where they do that, where they try to launch something to go stop it and the rocket blows up. That's based off of things that can happen. So I don't think it's going to be the wake-up call that we hope, but I mean, it would be nice for people to say, wait, you mean we don't have a solution if this were to actually come hit us, other than just hope that it doesn't hit a populated area?
Right. Oh man. All right. Well, let's do some questions, but
Yes.
first to address some things that were said in the back channel. Alex made the point that this is the 2.3% probability is would be too high for NASA to put astronauts on a spacecraft, for example. So it's a significant percentage. Although, again, as we have more telescopes pointed at it for longer periods of time and can extrapolate further, that percentage will probably drop to zero. But yeah, worth pointing out.
Sorry, I was also reading another important message saying that it could hit dirty leads and would cause about tens of pounds worth of damage per Chris Bergen.
Fantastic. Hi, Chris. Horses, shuttle. We already mentioned shuttle, so we're good, right? Like, we're good.
I totally wasn't trying to do an impersonation of you in the pre-show. It's fine.
The pre-show, which you can watch if you are in the member program.
Yes. Capcom and above.
Let's see. Adrian is saying, Jack, when I first heard about the asteroid, it was only 1% chance of hitting us in 2032. Now it has risen to 2.3. Yeah, that's fair. And again, as we have more telescopes pointed at it over longer periods of time, we can refine the data and the probability of uncertainty to where it's going to end up. Again, Scott Manley just put out a great video on this. Like, it's likely that it will go up a little bit as we look at it further, but it will probably drop to zero. Like, it's fine. It's going to be fine. But not something to ignore. EJ, Pat is asking, what goes in the square hole? Let's see. The Rocket Girl is asking, if the asteroid actually passes through the keyhole and ends up going right for us, why don't we reproduce the DART mission at a bigger scale? I mean, I think that would be the most logical thing to try and do out of any potential deflect option. We've already tried it with DART. We've already proven that we can do something like that. Just do it with something that's way more massive.
Yeah, it would just be DAR, not DART, because it wouldn't be a test.
Yeah, the DAR mission. Star DAR. Well, it wouldn't be it wouldn't be a double asteroid though. So it'd just be ERT. Or R? R? It'd be R? Okay, that's enough of that.
We're making great noises here that apparently are supposed to mean something. EJ, I believe you're muted to the stream members, so we're getting a great sound from you. But
minus 5 points. Try again.
Man,
we
I
promise
rarely
we're
make that
professionals.
mistake.
Well, ish.
I don't think have I talked while muted on this stream so far? I don't think so, but both
You're
of
the
you
only
have.
one who
No.
hasn't.
It's coming
What is
up,
this?
Millhouse.
What is this? Opposite week or something? Jeez.
Anyways,
No,
please continue.
Okay, so all right, serious time, except for the hat. No, I think having a mastery of space, like a quote unquote mastery of space, is the solution here. Like, even if an asteroid, is coming towards us with all the technology that we have now, like, how long did it take DART to become a mission? Like, how long did it take that? How long was that entire mission campaign? However, if we have like routine trips to Mars, routine trips to the belt, et cetera, we have these proverbial space highways. A redirect like this is just going to, all right, we can go do that real quick. All right, just redirect it. Now let's mine it for resources. But what I'm saying is that we need to go further into space. Going further into space and mastering, like going to Mars, or even just living in deep space or building cities in space, will give you inadvertently the tools that you need to be able to combat this when the situation does rise. Because we're talking about Earth, right? But what happens if we go to Mars? Can Mars not get hit by an asteroid either? What if we're out in the belt? I'm pretty sure those can get hit by the asteroid belt can get hit by asteroids. Like, that's absolutely a thing. See what I'm saying? It's not just Earth at that point, right? What if we have some like Cloud City stuff on Venus, and that gets hit by an asteroid? I mean, it's once again very unlikely, just like Earth, because the planets that are kind of closer to the sun here in our solar system are kind of protected from the gas giants,
right,
Jupiter
kind of
and
like
Saturn.
shepherd things in the inner solar system because they're so
their
massive.
gravitational pull, exactly. Their gravitational pull is so ridiculously large, it pulls asteroids toward them, which is why the belts are out there, out near them, not near us.
Right.
So having like a mastery of space, and basically exploring further into the final frontiers is the solution here in my mind. Like that's there's no other way, because if we're gonna sit here and just keep doing our thing, and then an asteroid comes and it's like, oh, we're gonna plan a mission. We'll plan it. It hit us. All right, cool. All right, cool. Bye. All right, okay, thanks. Bye. Like, see, that's the point I'm trying to make. Yeah. Like, it's not. No, we got to go further into space if we really want to mitigate this problem the best way.
I feel so. This, like I said earlier, that like this, I feel like this comes up in the news cycle every so often when there's something that's when there's a near Earth object that has a slightly higher probability than normal. And in previous news cycles, this has been the sort of thing where I've been like, geez, man, if that happens, we are so in trouble. The state of the space industry today and where it's going makes me feel a lot more optimistic, given a scenario like this that was actually serious. But speaking of serious, we have some breaking news that is serious, potentially. EJ, what's the breaking news that, of course, happened just now?
While we're on the air.
You got to do it in transatlantic voice. You don't actually. Please don't.
But you sure?
It's up to you.
Well, sources reporting over at ARS Technica have reported that Boeing has informed its employees that NASA may cancel the SLS contracts. The White House has not made a final decision yet on the large rocket. The primary contractor for the Space Launch System rocket, Boeing, is preparing for the possibility that NASA cancels the long-running program. No, okay, all right. The breaking news here is that Boeing is... This wasn't just picked up by Eric Berger at ours. This was something that Bloomberg also picked up too. So, more than one source here, right? There's, kind of stuff brewing that Boeing is looking to lay off SLS personnel, which is not, that's not the greatest thing in the world, to be honest, because that potentially, what's the problem? Like, what does that mean, EJ? All right, well, potentially that means if they're looking to trim the fat right now, that means they're anticipating a program cancellation, which you remember what I said about, like, just a second ago, like that one time, guys, where I was talking about how, like, you have to go further into space, and having more rockets can basically leverage that whole going into space further thing. And that kind of has to do a lot. It has a lot to do with this, because the only thing better than one super heavy launch vehicle is two super heavy launch vehicles. So I mean, I get it. For all the flack that SLS gets, I still don't think getting rid of it is a good idea. Maybe in the future, but why would you want less super heavy launch vehicles? Like, I don't know, but Boeing seems to think that they might not have a choice here in this regard. But yeah, that's what's going on. That's the breaking news. Not great news, to be honest. That's not the best. I mean, I'm sure some people are cheering over that. I'm sure some of you are like, yes, I hate that thing. Whatever, that's fine.
You know what I've been thinking a lot about lately, EJ, is what I will call, for lack of a better term, monkey paw scenarios. scenarios in which you wish for a thing with all of your heart, and then maybe you even perhaps are on the verge of getting that thing. Let's say, for random example, humans on Mars. Maybe that's something that really interested you as a person for a really long time, and you wanted to see that happen, and thought, that's something we should do. What if, what if we get that, but it's like one of those situations where it's like, at what cost? At what cost do we? What if we just skip the moon for some reason because the moon is old and boring and go straight to Mars? That seems like, I'm in vague speculation land here, but on the one hand, yeah, I'm stoked. Less government waste is good. On the other hand, I prefer the future where SLS gets shaped up and launches like 4 or 5 times a year and is useful in launching meaningful cargo and participating in this new space era that we're in, not just gets canceled after basically being ready to go.
Jack, here's the thing, man. Eric Berger in that article, once again, I'm not trying to rain on his parade, okay? But in that article, he cites the cost, right? He cites the cost of the rocket. He cites that it's too expensive. Obviously there's an angle to be played here that Starship can get it done for cheaper. First of all, first and foremost, if anybody thinks that Starship isn't a multi-bajillion-dollar operation at this point, you can get bent. You have no idea how spaceflight works. Look at Starbase. Look at the hardware. You think they ain't spending billions of dollars on that? Right? Now, the second part of this is, dude, I like spaceflight history. I follow a lot of spaceflight history. It's really good up until about 1972. And then, I noticed a pattern that seems to happen.
A really distressing pattern.
The pattern is that every time somebody says something is too expensive and we have another way to do it for cheaper, 2 things happen. We don't have a cheaper way of doing it, and NASA gets less money. It's one or the other. It happens every time. Oh, the shuttle can do it for cheaper. The shuttle can do it for cheaper because it's fully reusable. The shuttle will do it for cheaper. We'll be back to the moon by 1982. It'll be great.
You're wounding me, but you're so right.
Whoops.
Oops. I mean,
so we went from VLEO capability to just low Earth orbit, and then they use the same exact justification. Oh, the shuttle's old, it's too expensive. We'll replace it with Constellations, conventional stick rockets, so we can go back to the moon. It'll be fine. Retired the shuttle, and then somebody came along and said commercial can do it for cheaper, and axed its replacement at the same time. You know what I mean? Oh, we have a cheaper way of doing it. Well, yeah, of course. The cheapest way of doing it is to not do it at all. You know what I mean? Every time somebody has said this, every single time, NASA has gotten the shaft. And don't anybody sit here and say like, oh, if SLS gets canceled, they'll just give that money to SpaceX. No. That's not how that works at all. That's not how that works. Defunding SLS will be defunding NASA. That will be the rebound. That will be the rip, and there will be a ripple effect from this. And the ripple effect is that you're spending billions of dollars less in your aerospace industry, in the American aerospace industry. Once again, I'm sorry, I'm kind of cooking here for a second, but dude, I understand that SLS has its follies. I understand that it has its problems. It is seemingly expensive. I mean, if you go compare it to the Saturn V with inflation and just adjusted, I think a lot of people will be humbled that say it's too expensive. But at the same time, the program isn't without its criticisms. But that's one thing that I've noticed ever since 1972, since we got rid of Apollo and decided we wanted to do the shuttle. Every time someone has said there is a cheaper way of doing something, this way is too expensive, it's not sustainable, NASA has gotten defunded and ended up with less capability. Just something to ponder.
I really want there to be a test at McGregor right now so that we can have fire shooting out of your ears. That'd be kind of amazing.
That would be dude. Oh, that would have made my day.
We have even more breaking news. And Sawyer, if you want to weigh in on SLS, by all means. But really quickly, I want to.
I do, but.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, holy cow! It's showing the tweet. I just want to really quickly say thank you to Russell Snodgrass. Holy cow, Russell Snodgrass! What the heck? $400 super chat, Russell. and it's not even the first time Russell's done that. Russell, thank you. They say seems like the funding for all programs and agencies are under unqualified scrutiny right now. Some people shouldn't be doing some things. I mean,
oh yeah, that's a way to put that.
yeah,
that's a good way to put that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna disagree. I don't know that I have anything to add even necessarily other than we'll see. Okay. Buckle up, friends. Like we'll see how this goes. I'm curious how this reporting from Eric and Bloomberg will shake out. Russell, thank you so much, man. Like keeping the data fed for the robots, keeping the robots maintained, keeping everybody here that works on everything from the writers to the producers to everybody. Like, just thank you so much, Russell.
To the EJs, yeah, all the EJs that work here.
All the EJs, yeah. Unfortunately, we only have one EJ. It's like one of the. It's like the what?
No, EJ said the EJs and the Jacks, but
and the Sawyers, yes. Yes, and
well, there's only one
Jack,
Sawyer.
EJ.
If only
there's only one. It was a compliment.
You two can fight. I'm gonna sip more Red Bull.
A compliment from someone from Boston. Wow.
So let's talk about the next news.
Anyway,
we're getting more news jammed into the show as the show goes on. So Sawyer, what's going on with this? This seems really cool.
Breaking news just in, and it's great because I actually have an earpiece. Anyway, yes, we now have word that they are actually going to attempt, finally, one of the landings of a SpaceX booster at the Bahamas. This has been in place for a year at this point. That's when they inked the deal saying, yes, we will definitely allow you to come in and do landings right at the Bahamas. We now finally have a date. No earlier than February 17th, 2025. I'm going to be looking at airfare as soon as the show is over. We will have, hopefully, a landing of a first stage in the Bahamas.
That is going to be so cool. Oh my gosh. Wait, so it's going to be on a drone ship off the coast of the Bahamas. Yes. It's not landing on land in the Bahamas.
Right, it's kind of nestled in between the islands of the Bahamas. So you've got a bunch of smaller islands on the right. On the left is the Nassau and the main part of the Bahamas. And there's a big little strip in between. That kind of area is where they're basically planning to put the drone ship. So right between the major islands of the Bahamas.
So we're gonna have to go cover this on location, right, guys?
I already said I'm looking at airfare as soon as this show is over, and I'm not
Sawyer,
joking.
Come on, Sawyer, get on it. Like EJ and I can riff for like 10 minutes, whatever you need, buddy. That's cool. That's really, really cool. I imagine being nestled into the islands like that will protect the drone ship from higher sea states and weather, and just makes it so that the crew doesn't have to sit out in the middle of the ocean. They can go pop on shore for I don't know, what do you drink in the Bahamas? A pina colada, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know, pina colada or I don't know, something. I forgot the names of all drinks randomly all of a sudden that were tropical.
All right, there's the rough landing area, shall we call it? You can see. Wow. Okay, so if you're on some of those islands, woo, buddy. That's going to be a view.
Yeah, and that area also includes for fairing recovery too, by the way.
Oh, no kidding. Wow, yep. So we could actually plausibly have somebody get footage of a fairing like coming in, perhaps even under parafoil. EJ, what are you all right, EJ?
Nothing, I'm good.
You okay?
I'm fine.
You doing all right?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I had something in my eye.
It's worth noting that is from hazard notices that were put out last month. The particular shape that you're seeing there, that is not anything we drew. That is based off of the hazard notices.
Also, Das is correcting me in the back channel and says Bahamas are huge. It's nowhere near shore. Did all the math on this per cam placement already. Dang. Of course he did, because he's Das. Cool. Well, let's see if we can continue on with the show and if any more breaking news happens. But this is a neat further advancement to Falcon 9's capabilities and will unlock new orbits, I'm sure. And people will be like, oh, Southern Bahama Corridor. And I'll just be like, and yeah, And then just like 6 will come online, and I'll be laughing all the way to the bank. You right,
Yeah.
EJ? Doing okay?
You're laughing because it's never going to
Yeah,
happen.
yeah, I'm good.
That's why we're laughing.
I'm good. I'm laughing. Yeah, all the time.
That face.
Let me thank some folks, and then we got sidetracked in the middle of asteroid questions with all the news. So let me thank
Yeah,
some folks.
and then I still want to give my opinion eventually at some point.
You should give your opinion. Just do it now. Just go.
No, go for the
Do it.
thanks first, and then
Shoot from the
then
hip.
I'll quick before people start hating on me. Let's go for the nice thank you messages.
Okay. Space
Do
Pope, the Space Pope. Thank you, Space Pope. They say, bless this trench. Also, Jack, get a case for the new phone. No. Caseless gang. Apple carries my case. But thank you, Space Pope. That's, as always, extremely generous of you. Don't shake your head at me. Don't shake your head at me. No. Apple carries my case. It's made out of titanium.
Yeah,
Yeah, what's the front made out of?
We really doing this? We really going to do this?
What's the front made out of? It ain't titanium.
It's glass. It's
The
fine.
part that you,
Technically,
the part
it's-
that you look at.
Technically, it's ceramic.
Hey, what happened on Flight 3 when Starship entered, on the leeward side? What happened there?
Bad things?
Yeah. It's made like that for a reason, man. Boom.
Okay,
Case.
well, if you want a case, you can get a case. You don't have to force me to get a case. I don't want a case for my phone. I like the...
Oh, I'm doing it.
You know
I'm doing
that we're gonna put it in big giant screen on the flame
Can
trench
I-
when you actually do get a crack in your phone.
Can I read the support, please?
No. Yeah. Yeah. Go
All right.
ahead.
Well, then what do we do? I guess take it away.
Nah, I'm good. You read the support.
Mike Alpha Tango Sierra, thanks for gifting 10 Red Team memberships. Morton also gifting 5. Michael gifting 1. Joni? I hope I'm not butchering your name. I apologize. Becoming a Capcom member, that means you get access to the pre-show and post-show of this show. Also, the members Discord and a whole bunch of other awesome stuff. Blake Alexander gifting 20 Red Team memberships. Blake, thank you so much as well. Always such a delight seeing all of the regulars' names pop up. Out of This World, thank you for the support. I'm not going to read that. EJ, would you read the lower third, please? You don't have to read it out loud. I'm making you aware that the lower third is a thing that exists, and then we're going to move on.
Yeah, I'll wear a swimsuit. I don't care. It's
All right. Keith, upgrading to Capcom. Thank you, Keith. Claire, also becoming a Capcom member. Holy cow. Thanks, you guys. Again, at Capcom a little above, you get Discord access, which also means you get pre-show and post-show access, which means you can see me panic every week about the cold open. And, actually
He
entertaining
does.
things.
It's pretty funny.
It is.
Matt PD, thank you for the support. They say, why is Spicy EJ in here? Because it's the Flame Trench. It's what it says on the box. Jeff, thanks for the gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Dimez, thank you for the support. They say, Boeing is trying to get SLS canceled. No new administrator, no new budgets proposed, but they are telling their folks SLS is done. Like Starliner, they should be forced to deliver what they promise. What if that's it in the end?
Yeah.
It's not even pressure from the admin or from NASA. It's Boeing just like, hey, can we be out? Like, oh, you're twisting my arm. I'm done. It hurts. I want to go make planes.
Well, I mean, if they want to do that, Boeing has the SLS program has been funded over the last 15 years to the tune of $93 billion. If you want out, you can just give us that money back.
Oh, that's so much money.
I mean,
If you want out, sure.
The timing of this, though, they're required by law in the U.S. here because it's more than 100 employees that they have to give them at least 60 days notice of the potential of a place like a major plant or a major project like this getting cut, closed, canceled, etc. All the C's. 60 days-ish is about when we're expecting to see the proposal for the 2026 federal budget. That includes NASA's budget. So the timing of this is not coincidental. It's not like all of a sudden Boeing saying, all right, you know what? We're looking at our budgets. We want to get out of this thing. It's timing around the federal budget. Also worth noting, the president can propose a budget. Congress can either accept it or decline it. So even if it's out there that says, hey, we want to get rid of SLS in the budget, if that is the case, Congress could say, no, you can't do that. We're going to fund it, and you're still going to build it. And I know Janet Petra, who's the acting administrator right now, has flat out said, look, we don't want it canceled. At least let us get back on the moon. At least let us get to Artemis 3.
That would be nice.
I mean, Sawyer, it's another poignant thought there is that, you said Congress can kind of force their hand. That's the reason why SLS exists.
I know a lot of people have called it, the Senate launch system.
But
see,
I think
history is repeating itself.
I'm not going out on a limb to say that the state of our congressional situation is different now than ever before. I would think.
I mean, yes, but then again, funding/defunding NASA is not party specific. We have seen both parties cancel major programs. We have seen both parties decide to increase parts of NASA's budget, particularly for SLS as well. So it's not like, the fact that there's a certain makeup of either side is a determining factor in this. This is very much a political climate of, do we really want to go back to the moon right now? And I know, as Russell Snodgrass very thoughtfully put it in his extremely, extremely generous super chat, there are definitely some people that have their hands in the pot on this one.
All I meant is that I feel like under the current climate, if the administration sends Congress a budget, the likelihood that there's pushback from Congress that is meaningful, I would not anticipate that. I would expect Congress right now to just be like, "Yep, rubber stamp," to an extent. So if the admin is like, "We're canceling this," I don't know. Maybe there would be enough constituencies. Maybe SLS actually is that hard to cancel, that there would be some meaningful, pushback from various members of Congress. But I don't know. Anyway, let's talk about. Can we talk about asteroids and other stuff? I'm really.
Yeah, I know. Talking about all the sad stuff is a pain in the asteroid. I agree.
Really quick, Blake Alexander, thank you so much. Snockgarden, again, as I always say, you have the worst name ever, but we love you anyway. They say Sawyer. What is Sawyer Rootst? Wait, they corrected themselves somewhere. Meant to say Flight Fund. Sawyer Flight Fund contribution here. Might cover pretzels and bottled water. There you go. For your Bahama flight, Sawyer. Matt PD, thank you for the support. I have no idea what that means. And Austin Skirvin, thank you for the support. They say, time to hijack the stream. I hope I'm on target with this message. Can't wait to see Captain Yak in a kill in the kayak. EJ in a swimsuit could be decent. Time for a Bohemian Falcon. Great. Now you're getting in on the kilt nonsense with the swimsuit thing. Like it's not just me now, which I'm not going to say I like, but it's a development that exists. Anyways.
Also, Bohemian Falcon 9 needs to become a song now.
I'd listen
Instead of
to
Bohemian Rhapsody, Bohemian Falcon 9.
I'm not going to attempt to think of lyrics of it right now on air, but you almost had me attempting to think of lyrics for it on air.
I already did.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of good ones in chat right now.
I already did. EJ's like, it's already in my notes app. I already sent it to the label. It's already mixed.
Yep. Right now.
All right, hit us with it.
No, I'm not telling you.
Oh,
no.
okay.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Okay, a couple asteroid questions. Let's move on. 15 minutes into the show, on to the next topic. How about?
We've already covered 3 topics technically, so it's fine.
Boiling Brief Minecraft is asking, will we be able to see the asteroid as it passes by Earth? Maybe with a telescope? Probably not naked eye.
I mean, it depends. If it impacts us, then yes.
He's not wrong.
No, he's not.
The spice level is high today.
He's technically correct, which is, as we all know, is the best kind of correct. Gwen is saying killer asteroid coming to Earth is karma's revenge for scrapping Ship 26, the best ship. Kevin made me read that. And Witch Doctor says, I think we need to have 4 or 5 darts stored and ready to launch just in case. Something like that. Some sort of planetary defense system. Each nations come together, they're spacefaring and like form a pact and like everyone contributes in a certain amount of way. Like International Space Station, that's all well and good. Why can't we have, 4 or 5 DART style missions stored and ready to go other than, you run into probably like a rods from God, kinetic impactor, ICBM sort of situation that you don't necessarily. I don't know. I think the planetary defense is a good idea.
Honestly, have the UK build it. They're really good at darts.
Ha
Thanks, EJ. Thank you. All right.
Got you, man.
So, moonlanders, anyone? Sawyer?
Sure. I'll talk about moonlanders. Let's start with one of the most recent ones that launched, and we will go with Firefly's Blue Ghost to start. You may remember that launched along with Hokuto R's second mission earlier this year. Hard to believe. At this point, we know that it is currently in Earth orbit. It is stable. And from all the pictures and videos that we have actually seen, like this one, look at that from one of the higher points in the orbit, showing the Earth below. It is gorgeous. So you gotta love the blue marble. Throwback to the 1970s and the Apollo original blue marble mission there. It is on its way a little further out from the Earth still. It's been working its way outward and outward, but this coming week, we should finally see it make its way to the moon. It will then go to the moon, go into orbit there, and we are expecting to see that land potentially, hopefully, with the right conditions, March 2nd, landing at Mare Crisium. So, I mean, the views that we've been getting from it at this point are absolutely stunning, and I can't wait to see it on its way to the moon, and then hopefully in a couple of weeks on the surface of the moon. Another... Oh, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just saying Firefly's been putting out some really banger content from the lander as it leaves, as you were talking about, and as we showed. I'm so here for it. More cameras in space, more better. And as it does get closer to the moon and eventually hopefully land, like I'm so excited to see the sort of stuff that this thing can show us. Anyways, please, Sawyer, don't let my lollygagging constrain you. Continue.
It's all right, yeah, I mean, these images are gorgeous. You can also keep an eye on our social media channels. We're on Facebook, Instagram, X, Blue Sky, you name it, we're basically there. We'll repost some of these awesome images too.
We even have a live journal. We don't have that.
And a MySpace, yes. You can check out our geo sites for the latest news.
Not the first time you've made that joke. Why is that one? Why is it always that one is your like standard for most obscure? That's
because
the one
I had one. That's why back in the day.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
Anyway,
right,
so you guys on MySpace or
March 2nd for that. Let's move ahead to 2025 here for a minute and jump ahead to Griffin and Astrobotic, which now has a partnership. Astrobotics and Astrolab will now be working together to carry the Flip rover. So Flip is a smaller version of their larger rover called Flex. Flip, by the way, stands for Flex Lunar Innovation Platform. Yes, they have an acronym within their acronym because acronymception and because spaceflight and acronyms. Anyway, this is basically... They had an opening, obviously, with the whole Viper thing. So rather than actually fly a block of concrete, they're flying real science. So the main goal of this, again, will kind of be to sort of test what will eventually become their larger program with a big lunar rover. So that will hopefully launch in 2025 aboard Falcon Heavy. Meanwhile, their main Flex larger rover is still scheduled to land on the surface of the moon, hopefully with Starship launching it no earlier than December 2026, and they have a 2-year launch kind of range to get that off with Starship. So more rovers, more better. Then we also have the spacecraft that was supposed to be on board the original one, that is NASA's Viper that we were just talking about. That got canceled because it was running behind. They decided to just take it off the mission. Then they said, you know what? Maybe we should actually do something with it, and maybe we should, let private companies in on it. Well, the latest update that we had from a couple days ago is that they are actually announcing that they are looking into these proposals. The deadline is coming up for that public-private partnership to operate it. So they're seeking those proposals. I believe by the end of the month is when they're due. So if you are into science and you want to control the rover, I guess there you go. But at least it's not dead yet. So it is still potentially alive. There is still a potential that you can have that public-private partnership, boy, that's not a mouthful at all, to get that up and going. So Viper is not dead yet.
Yay!
Just a flesh wound.
I'm not dead.
We covered Viper, I feel like, on this show
We did.
fairly, what's the word I'm looking for?
Thoroughly, extensively,
Vociferously?
spicily.
Yeah, angrily, spicily. It brings joy to know that it's not quite dead yet. Like, we'll see what happens, but EJ, does this news please you about Viper? It pleases me.
No.
No?
No. I mean, that's great. That's great, but no one's gonna want to operate a rover that's frankly just a gigantic black box. All right, meaning that NASA designed it, NASA engineered it. They're trying to farm out operations because they can't allocate cash correctly, which is funny. That's funny to me. Like, you guys ever seen there's this old video. It's called "Ding Ding Ding, Shake Hands with Danger."
Yeah.
And it's basically
Yep.
like an instructional video on what not to do if, like, around a construction site. If
Yes.
there was an equivalent of "Shake Hands with NASA," like, if there was an equivalent here, the handling of the Viper program would be a great example. Like, it would be at the top of the list of, like, just
Shake hands
really
with
dumb
NASA.
things. Shake hands. Yeah, exactly. It would be at the top of the list of extremely stupid things to do. Like, that's great that NASA wants to farm it out, but honestly, at the end of the day, like I said, no one's gonna want this gigantic black box rover. Like, they don't know the inner workings of it. You know, no one's gonna want to shoulder that burden. No one wants to do that. That would be like NASA being like, "Oh, who wants to operate the ISS for us?" Well, we send people to it. No, people would be like, "Yeah, what are you, crazy?
Doesn't
What are you,
Boeing
nuts?"
technically do that, kind of?
Yeah, exactly. But they were set up from the beginning. It's not a black box for them, right? Like,
But look
it's
how
not
cool
a
it
gigantic.
is. Look at the wheels. Look at it go.
The
Look how
wheels move.
Look how off
What,
center it is, but it's still going. Yay! Can we
Also,
have
the
nice
dude that
things?
just had his arm on the other guy's shoulder. Just saying, that was cool.
Flex.
Yeah, but that's Flip. That isn't Viper, right?
Oh.
That was Flip, right?
Oh, because Viper's a lander.
No. Jack.
What?
Were you listening when Sawyer gave his spiel? Did you get that memo?
Yes, I got the memo about the TPS reports. Yes.
Well, so that's Flip. Those are tests. Is that test for Flip or is that test for Viper? Like,
No, that should be Viper.
No, Alex is saying Viper in the back
Okay.
channel.
That's
Okay,
absolutely
cool. All
Viper.
right. Yeah, I mean, okay, then that's okay. You did get the memo. Good. I was just making sure. No, like, look, they did all this testing, guys. Just a little primer, just in case anybody's wondering. Like, NASA built this rover. They finished it. It was 90.
Sorry. This sigh of relief. Sorry, go ahead.
The rover was 99% done. It had one thermal vacuum test to do left before it was 100% good to go, and NASA canceled it because there was too much cost overrun. Right? They said, "Oh, there's too much funding overlap with other things. It'll eat into the funding of other programs." To the tune of probably like $80-90 million. It was somewhere between there and 150 million. I get it. That's a lot of money for you and me. That's not a lot of money for NASA. NASA's budget is $23 billion every year. That's nothing. This is nothing. That's an inconsequential amount for them, right? So they canceled it and they said, "Oh yeah, well, we've still got to pay private companies, so we'll just launch a big block of metal instead, and that'll be more cost effective." Well, yeah, of course it'll be more. All right. So Viper right now is sitting in the middle, like sitting at a NASA facility, just collecting dust, right? And what they're trying to do is they're trying to farm it out. But once again, like, no one's going to want a rover that's like 99% of the way there, and then they put Flip on the Astrobotic lander, on the Griffin lander. That's where it was supposed to go, right? So now you don't have a ride, and now you have a gigantic rover that you know nothing about.
Yeah, but what if it's like a satellite bus? Like, you don't necessarily know what everything about your satellite bus, but if you can stick some stuff on a thing relatively easily and cheaply, and it's going to the moon, then I mean I can see useful science getting done.
I guess.
Yeah, but how much money is that going to cost? Like, for cost saving measures, farming that out and then basically having a commercial company take on the entire workload of the Viper program, operations, launch, et cetera, right? Is that going to cost more than $150 million?
I mean, does the taxpayer foot the bill, or is it a private company and VC money paying for it?
Well, NASA's involved, so the taxpayer has to get involved. They're not just going to give somebody a rover and be like, oh, here you go, figure it out. And if they are, well, guys, that is not a good look. that's not. You're basically setting up a commercial company to fail. And all of this, it's so annoying because all of this goes against what the entire program that Viper is a part of is about. Viper is part of the
CLPS.
Yeah,
right.
Viper's about the Commercial Lunar Payload Services Program, which is supposed to be a low-cost barrier of entry, so we can explore the moon, so we can kind of delegate some of the precursor missions to the commercial market, so NASA can kind of shoulder the main Artemis missions, right? These are precursor missions. These missions are required for landing people on the moon. Like Viper, like see it roving around there on the surface. It's supposed to find where all the water ice is because it's got wheels and it can move around, right? Yeah, that's kind of useful. There's no replacement for this. So if NASA doesn't find a customer for this thing, well, where the heck are we going to find all the water ice? How do we know where to build a moon base if we ever get there? You see what I mean?
Seems
You're
like
shooting yourself in the foot here.
Is a relatively important thing that you would want to figure out.
Exactly. It would be like Apollo. It'd be like Apollo without the surveyor missions. You're shooting yourself in the foot here because you wanted to save $150 million.
Or Apollo with the surveyor missions, but the surveyor missions were done by a private company that then exploits that data for commercial gain or question mark.
I mean, that's not really where I was going with that, but yeah, that's an outcome. The point is that the Apollo program would have been a lot more difficult and way more expensive than it already was if the surveyor missions didn't happen, right? So getting rid of this and then trying to just be like, oh, we have this rover. If anybody wants it, you can have it. Like, hopefully it doesn't get canceled. But NASA, NASA, you're the one that canceled it. This is your fault. Stop pretending like, oh, well, yeah, we have this rover. Unfortunately, it got canceled. That was NASA's decision. That was not Congress's decision. It's a good thing. It's important to understand that because we're used to like, oh, Congress canceled this or Congress didn't fund this. No. NASA was like, no, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. It's too expensive. And, but people are going to tell me like, oh, EJ, it's fine. It exceeded cost allocation. Yeah. What the heck is James Webb then? James Webb exceeded cost allocation by $20 billion in 15 years. Give me a freaking break.
I mean, again, it does seem sort of important if the whole reason we're going back to the moon is to find the ice and then use it for a gas station or something, habitable space and oxygen. I don't know. We kind of want to know where the water ice is before you
kind of need to
figure out where you're going to live. Like if you're like, hey, I'm going to buy a home or I'm going to rent an apartment and it has to be near the water because I'm that kind of person. You don't just blindly rent a place or buy a place without knowing if it's on the water or not. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, exactly, dude. It's frustrating. Like, dude, Viper was like, I get spicy about this because Viper was a transcendent moment for me because that was like the point where my patience ran out with NASA after 15 years of like being on the pulse of spaceflight. That's when I was like, okay,
Wars kind of moments where you're like, wait,
I'm done.
It's supposed to be an amphibious vehicle and it's supposed to have portholes. What?
Here, let me put screen doors on my submarine. Yeah. It's fine.
Oh God.
Can I say my piece now?
Go ahead, sir.
Thanks.
Sorry.
It's all good. Here's the thing. I mean, yeah, I get it. It's a piece of CLPS, though. There are a lot of other missions that are working on doing the lunar surface thing. In this case, you're talking about, yes, it was slated to launch. It was dumb to cancel it. $80-90 million over budget, and yes, it was still delayed, so it wasn't going to be able to launch until September of this year, but it was supposed to launch in 2024 at this point. But I mean, there's still value to it. Yeah, I can't even say it. NASA and non-NASA partnership. Let's just say it that way. You have the ability to add more science to it at this point. Yes, you have what NASA's already put on it, and NASA can gain a lot from that. Imagine, say, NSF could put a payload on that. I mean, I'm not saying we are. I'm not saying that's financially sane. But you have places that can now put payloads on a lunar polar mission here. There is a lot more benefit that can be done science-wise as opposed to just what's within the NASA purview. So as long as it does get a ride and they don't just say, we looked at the proposals and said, no, never mind, forget it, there's still value to it. And it's worth noting, like I was saying, there are other missions. The one coming up, IM-2, which is currently, they had a thing actually today discussing it. And what they were saying is that everything is on track. They've done everything they can to prevent the issues they had last time with the leg snapping and the tipping over and all of that. That is set to land. The area it's going to land at, do they expect there to be a lot of water? Probably not. Is there still a drill on board to test for water? Yes. They also have little, things that can hop to different places to check. They have a plan to take a little device and hop it into one of the shadowed areas in the southern part of the moon where there's a good chance that there's ice, water ice, and put it there and just let it sit and let it do its testing to see, is there the helium here that would indicate there is water or that could be used in the future? So it's not like there's nothing. The way they handled it for Viper was absolute garbage. I agree. It was disgusting. It was terrible. It was just, ugh.
I want to go back and watch that flame trench now, just because we were all so mad about it.
Pissed.
We were all so mad.
But I don't think it's
Still pissed.
But I don't think a public-private partnership is a bad thing. It's not like you're getting, an instrument that's, say, 30 years old and said, here, now go ahead and modernize it. You're talking about a relatively new spacecraft with the ability to add to an already scientifically pretty solid platform.
Well, we will see what happens to Viper and all of the other lunar landers. Sawyer, thank you for speaking passionately about.
In case you can't tell, I like the idea of the CLIPS program. I love the idea of getting back to the moon. The idea of the fact that finally, after so many years of just staying in low Earth orbit, I mean, yes, the shuttle, obviously, I love it. Even science-wise, we focused on Mars. We finally got to focusing on asteroids and things like that. But we've kind of just neglected the moon. It's just been there. And it's like, okay, yeah, we've been there already. Why go back? The fact that now we're finally talking about going back to stay. We're doing the actual science that would be needed to stay. And for future exploration, we're looking for water on the surface. We're looking for places that humans can survive. We're finally studying the nearest planetary type body that we have, our own natural satellite. We're finally looking at it. It's about darn time that it gets the love that it deserves, and I am so happy to share that with people.
Here, buddy. I have nothing to add. I'm here for it. I mean, in the world of I guess I do have something to add. In the world of CubeSats, in the world of smartphones and miniaturization of electronics, like a program like CLIPS seems like a no-brainer, right? So more payloads to the moon, more science on the moon, more better. Of course, that's what I'm going to say.
Sorry, I get it, and you're absolutely right. Like, that's why I said the CLIPS program on the whole has been good. This is definitely a blemish on the entire program. But like, dudes, I'll even go so far as to say this is going to piss a lot of people off. But we're already here, so I'll even go so far as to say that yeah, exactly. I think that NASA's incessant drive to commercialize everything in the name of cost reduction is going to screw NASA in the long run. Eventually, you're going to run out of things. Like, I'll take the most glaring success of commercial public-private partnerships is the Commercial Crew Program and the Commercial Resupply Program, right? Okay, what happens when there's no SLS? Or ISS, excuse me, acronyms. Right? What happens when that happens? Like, would the commercial program have even been successful if there was no ISS?
Probably
Part
not.
of it. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, guys. Part of this is NASA using their resources to build something out there and then farming out the logistics to it. Right? but they have to be at the forefront for this whole for this whole thing to work, or else you're setting up commercial partners to potentially fail, like what I'm talking about with Viper. You know what I mean? Okay, great. You bought down the risk. You spent less money, but this doesn't get you any science. Great. You canceled Viper. That's fine, but that still doesn't get you any closer to finding, where the water ice is on the moon. You know what I mean? Public-private partnerships are fine, but it has to be in the right capacity. If it's not in the right capacity, commercial's just going to take everything over, and then NASA will just fade into oblivion, which is ironically what on social media, that's what everybody says. Like, oh, we don't need SLS, we don't need Arianespace, Starship, and Elon and the commercial will do everything. Like, no, that's not a good idea. That's not a good idea, because what made them exist in the first place is the fact that NASA paid them for a logistical service to go somewhere. And don't get me wrong, like, I know it's easy to say, like, oh, SpaceX isn't going to fail. SpaceX isn't going to fail, and I don't think they are, for what it's worth. But I'll give you an example. It's 1997. You go and get the mail. You get the mail, and you get a nice big AOL CD, right? You get that AOL CD, and be like, man, these guys really got it figured out. They're the best ISP ever. There is no way AOL will ever go away. America Online is the future of internet service provider. Oops. They had like 90% market share for internet service providers in North America. Where's that company now? Look, man, the commercial stuff is volatile. That's just a fact. It's volatile. There are ebbs and flows to a commercial market. And putting the entire weight of our space program, especially on public-private partnerships, is not going to end. That's not a good idea. And I'm saying that as a SpaceX fanboy. I love Starship. Starship's the best. I mean, I want it to succeed. It'd be great.
I do feel like there'll be some things that you just can't take away from NASA. Like things
we
like
shouldn't, but we want everybody
deep
wants
space
to all the time,
or any sort of planetary science mission where it's like the first time we're landing something on a surface. It's like that's kind of something I would want at a level that's the highest possible amount of rigor and care for something like that. And it's the sort of thing like what kind of return on investment is a company going to get from sending a deep space probe to Neptune or something?
Exactly.
Nothing.
There's no market for that.
Nothing.
Now, guys, that's right, dude. Now, simultaneously, real quick, sorry, I'm just going to say this piece real quick because I see people checking.
No, we're spicy. We found something we're spicy about. That's what the Flame Trench is about. Yes. Is every week we find some stuff we're spicy about and we get a little spicy. So go off, King.
Now, the flip side of this argument is that if I'm trying to make the case that going all commercial could potentially lead to stagnation, and that's right. The flip side of that is going all public. If NASA does everything, well, we've seen the fruits of that labor too. There's nothing stopping some bonehead politician from pulling the plug out on our entire national space program. It happened in 1972, and it happened again in 2010. So clearly, there has to be some kind of medium here. NASA has to be leading it, which is why I always say commercial needs to be relegated, not relegated necessarily. There needs to be some kind of it needs to be both. You have to have both of these things. The environment of which we've made for spaceflight today has had so many leaps and bounds, right? To the detriment of NASA. If we had NASA firing on all cylinders and SpaceX firing on all cylinders at the same time, oh man, like that, no politician's going to cancel a national space program when they know a company can do what they can't.
Right.
Right?
Something,
and
I don't know,
vice versa, NASA drives the market.
I don't know why I just thought of this, but it's something that's I've thought of increasingly more often lately because everything is a subscription. Imagine if GPS was a private company and was a subscription service. I think I just uttered something into the universe that should not have been. But that's my Shark Tank idea. Is you wanted to continue to get GPS $9.99 a month or some horrible thing like that. Like that is ew. Or like weather products, like any number of things where it's like weather radar or predictive data, and it's like, hey, turns out that's not a public good. You got to pay for it. Ugh.
Hey, Jack, you know that the Department of Defense is looking into backups for the Global Positioning Satellite System. You know who they're looking at backups for?
Starlink, I know.
Yeah.
Backup good.
Yeah,
Backup good. I don't want any critical infrastructure to be in the hands of like 6 big birds that can be taken off with an ASAT. Like distributed GPS sounds good to me. Paying $9.99 a month for GPS to Starlink does not sound good to me. But if it's a public-private partnership like you've been talking about, that we can bolster the integrity and resilience of the GPS network by using and leveraging Starlink, yeah. Heck yeah, I love Starlink. Have I mentioned this lately? I love Starlink. It's amazing.
Me too. Like,
and I have
again,
to say,
guys, I'm not.
I gotta get this
go
out
ahead,
there.
sorry.
I'm cutting you off.
Yeah, no, do it.
I'm sorry. I want to get a word in
talk
here.
too much. Go.
Because this is something that is just, it drives me insane when I see it. Everyone says, defund NASA, everything needs to be SpaceX, everything should be Starship. No, it shouldn't. The fact that we have 2 different mindsets between them is huge. Obviously, yes, SpaceX, it's in the name, Space Exploration Technologies. It's literally their company name. In the long run, the grand scheme of things, 99.9% of what they do is to make a profit. Obviously, there's the 0.1%, of course. They want to do the exploration. They want to do the science. They want to, progress outwards. Elon has flat out said they want to be able to have a base on Mars. I agree. That's fantastic. But in the end, it has to make a profit. NASA is not always about making a profit. In fact, theirs is the opposite. Their return on investment comes in the form of science, in the form of knowledge, and in particular, in the form of things that they design that we then use again here on Earth ourselves. Spin-offs. I think that is where we get the 2 different things here. You have the NASA spin-offs, which come into your everyday life, things that your tax dollars go to and you just get to use. Whereas SpaceX, yes, they are innovating on a lot of things. They are doing amazing work. I think both of them are necessary. The way that they are so business oriented is making things go that much faster. But again, it's for the sake of a business. I think that's where we have this amazing divide. You have NASA that's on the innovation side in terms of science and things like that, and then you have SpaceX on the innovation in terms of business side, rapid iteration, rapid development. The 2 of them have to work together. You cannot do just NASA. You cannot do just SpaceX. As much as everyone says, get rid of all of it and rely solely on Starship, you can't do that. You need both to work together.
Couldn't
and I think it just drives me crazy when I see everyone that goes, oh, we need everything Starship. All has to be Starship. We need Starship. Absolutely. That is 1,000,000% true. But we also need NASA's input, NASA's involvement, NASA's further continued evolution, I guess, of their product. When they get stagnant, like when we see shuttle for 30 years, that's when I get why people question it. But as they continue to innovate and evolve, that's when we finally see both firing on all cylinders.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To quickly address a couple things in chat. Yes, I know GPS was Department of Defense initially, and yes, I am aware that. Oh, I forget what the other one was. Chat's just yelling at me nonstop. I'm sorry, chat. I'm aware of these.
Shut up, Jack.
I'm a big dumb.
That's all right. I was yelling at you in front. Oh no, you're just a bald head. But I was making fun of you earlier, so it's fine.
I mean, when do you not make fun of me, Sawyer?
Surprisingly, a lot. It's just been today.
Well, unless we're talking about bagels.
True. Then you're just wrong. Anyway.
Sawyer, I agree. Yeah, I mean, dude, you're nail on the head. If that's what you were talking about with like public-private partnerships, I'm in. Like, yeah, that's absolutely a good thing. I'm not sure whether that particular context applies to Viper, but yeah, like if we're just going to talk about public-private partnership as a general concept between like NASA and commercial contractor, oh yeah, absolutely, we have to do it that way. I don't want to sit here and wait around to see the fruits of an all-commercial space program. Like that's a bad idea. And we've seen in the past, historically, what happens with an all-government space program. The only way forward is to have them relying on each other. NASA needs to drive the market by developing technologies that don't exist, and then that can be fed into the commercial market, and then the commercial market can take over in the trail that NASA has blazed. That is the only criteria. That's the only medium in which objectively commercial programs and public-private partnerships have worked, where they built the ISS and SpaceX's Dragon.
Yeah, we cannot do. I don't think we can ever get to Mars without the support of SpaceX. We also can't get to Mars without the support of NASA. And I don't think we could have NSF like we do without the support of viewers like you.
You guys, I don't think Chris B is going to be very happy with this because we've been beating this dead horse for a little while now.
Oh, you said I gave you a transition there, Jack. I gave you the perfect transition to go to support.
You did, and I threw it in the trash.
And then you went to beating horses.
I did do that. That just happened. Eric, thank you for the support. I'm not going to read it. It involves kilts, but thank you. Aramil, thank you for the support. They say I see a little silhouette of a rocket on a pad. Starship will kneel a damn landing. Yes. Good job. Pacific Northwest UT, thank you for gifting 5 team memberships. Astro95 Media, what's up? Say EJ's super bad reference deserved more kudos than it got, so here you go. Devin, thank you for gifting 10 red team memberships. Echo Deal. Peter Piper picked a peck of public-private pickled pepper partnerships.
Nice.
See, it's not easy to say. Well done.
It's not.
Wait. Can I try?
But you don't put those pickled peppers on a bagel.
Oh, I just got rid of it. I'm the worst.
No, I got it. I can go back in the
scroll back. Go for it.
Peter Piper pick a pack of peck. Damn it!
Nope.
No,
Try
I
again.
lost. Try again.
One more.
One more? All right. Peter Piper picked a peck of public-private pickled pepper partnerships.
Hey.
Boom.
All of that does not belong on bagels. Just reiterating.
Okay.
Phil, thank you for the support. They say for Wilbo when he watches this tomorrow. Oh, that's nice of you, Phil. What's up, Wilbo? What's up, future Wilbo? And Matt
Wilbo.
PD, thank you for the support. They say, Jack, stop poking the EJ. Have I been poking the EJ? I'm sorry, EJ. And finally, Rick Skinner, thank you for the support. They say, Amen, Sawyer and EJ's missionary preaching tour fund. Your ideas are interesting to me, and I would like to subscribe to your newsletter.
I will happily travel with EJ preaching the amazing word of space travel.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, dude, I'm with you. I'm with you, Sawyer. Absolutely. Let's do it. It's almost like we've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, almost like you've literally slept in my house so that we could go out and do some awesome public partnership thing in terms of getting people interested in space back in 2014 or 2015.
Anyways, I'm going to go. EJ, if you want to talk about Falcon 9 second stage in orbit, that's the next topic, but I'm going to get in this elevator.
Are you?
It's not. I can't do it. I can't do it. My chair's in the way.
Sideways elevator.
My chair's in the way.
Is that elevator ADA compliant? Asking for a friend.
That angle, definitely not.
Is worried about me. No, it's fine. No, it's fine. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Falcon 9.
One last thing real quick. I know Falcon 9. Well, I'm getting to it. One last thing real quick is I Kilmore, I'm talking to you in chat. Am I saying that SpaceX should wait for NASA to get around to do it? No, absolutely not. This is not a SpaceX problem. What I'm talking about is a NASA problem. That's not SpaceX's problem. In no way, shape, or form should NASA hinder SpaceX's drive to get to Mars because they don't have the same capability. How about you make the same capability? You're NASA. Just saying. You should probably do that. Probably be a good idea. Anyway, Falcon 9 second stages. So, looks like the other day we had a Falcon 9.
You're not even going to say hi to Laika?
Likies!
All right.
Likies!
You may continue.
What? I was trying to segue, but if we want to segue to doggo time, that's fine with me.
No, we're doing terrible segue week this week, so please continue.
Okay, in other news, pickles.
The ones that Peter picked?
Yes.
The public-private partnership ones?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. No. These are the Post Malone ones.
So Falcon 9
likes
right?
pickles. Yeah, all right. Bad segues. We got that out of the way. All right, cool. So, it seems like a SpaceX Falcon 9 second stage has suffered an issue the other day, at least from what people that track debris up on orbit, the orbital police, maybe? No. What the track suggests. There was a second stage from the Starlink 11-4 mission, and it seems to have never performed its deorbit burn. Now, what usually happens kind of for a quote-unquote garden variety Starlink mission is, the second stage will deploy the Starlink satellites and it'll do a deorbit burn. That seems to have not happened here.
Huh.
That seems to have not happened, and the second stage is just kind of just hanging out up there in low Earth orbit. Now, it's probably out of batteries at this point, and Falcon 9 second stages don't have any solar panels to keep charged. So that is a piece of debris that's just kind of floating up around there. That's probably not a good thing. It's only like the size of a steam locomotive. The second stage is pretty big. If it's confirmed that
steam locomotive,
yeah,
Choo-choo.
anyways, continue. Because train good. Train good, EJ.
Oh yeah, we're off the rails here, man. Oh wait, we're supposed to be doing bad segues. Sorry guys, I messed that up. All right. So, if confirmed, this would be the third Falcon 9 launch in roughly 6 months that have had issues with the second stage. There was this. Yeah, no, you're right. It isn't great. There was the Starlink 9-3 mission where something decided it wanted. Some pipe on the second stage decided it wanted to make a winter wonderland, and then
That's one way to put it.
you guys watch 9-3. It's like, hey, Christmas came early, or the holidays came early, or winter came early. Brace yourselves. Sorry, I'll stop.
No, do more.
And then, oh gosh, no, I'm good. All right, and then there was another mission. Where the second stage, that was the second stage from the Crew 9 mission that actually deorbited. It came down not where it was supposed to come down. Now, NSF has reached out to the FAA, and they did reply back to us, and I have to read this. I don't know the quote off the top of my head. Now, okay, so the quote from the FAA is that all flight events occurred within the scope of SpaceX's licensed activities. So it appears that, maybe that second stage is a dud. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's supposed to be up there. Maybe SpaceX is testing something. Who knows? But the FAA said that there's not going to be an investigation, which is kind of interesting. I think it's kind of funny that the part that seemingly, the piece of Falcon 9 that seemingly has the most amount of problems at this point is the part that's expendable. It's kind of strange.
It makes a lot of sense. I don't even think it's strange. To me, it's almost like about time we start hitting some of these constraints, because the Falcon 9's first stage gets all of the attention because it comes back and lands, and we get to see it come back and land, and we get to remember certain boosters and be like, oh, that's 10 hubbity blub. That one launched the whatever 5 mission. That's totally a thing, and so we all pay very close attention to the first stage. Second stage, they have to manufacture one for every single launch. So if they want to launch 150 times in a year or whatever number, they have to then ramp up their capability to build 150 second stages a year or whatever it is, which is a second stage every 2 or 3 days. That's insane. And
it's pretty crazy.
You don't ramp something like that, and you don't scale something like that without encountering some speed bumps along the way.
Actually, Jack, one of the speed bumps that SpaceX has proverbially gone over is, and I know this chat's going to love this, the stubby nozzles that are on Falcon 9 second stage. They're there to help conserve some of the materials needed to make second stage nozzles.
Right,
so
those nozzles are made out of a niobium alloy, if I'm even saying that right. Niobium.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The SpaceX has kind of exhausted the supply, which is hilarious to me. But yeah,
rare earth elements like that. They only come from a very small number of mines from a small number of places around the planet. So
wait, rare earth metals are rare?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I know, right? That's weird.
We wouldn't think by the
we can be fun and educational here.
But no, to your point, EJ, that is the reason for the stubby nozzle is they need to make enough of these things, and there just simply isn't enough of that metal to make as many nozzles as they need. So ergo, on the lower performance missions, you have a lower performance nozzle that's you can actually make a bunch of. So it doesn't really surprise me. What I'm going to be looking out for is, does this continue to happen, or is this like, the top of the bell curve? I'm not a statistician, but that's sort of my question at this point. Like, do we see no more issues from here on out? Do we see a couple more and then they taper off with the second stage, or is this just the new normal? Like, second stages don't have to be bespoke sports cars. Sometimes they can mess up on the path to 30,000 Starlinks in orbit.
Hey, it's like you were saying, man. There's always going to be bumps in the road. It's going to happen, dude. I think this problem, if you wanted my honest opinion, I think this problem is due to the fact that it's not reusable. I think this is gonna, if they don't stay on their game, stuff like this can happen. I mean, dude, they're producing one of these things every couple of days. They have to support the flight rate. I mean, how many missions did they end up doing last year, Jack? It was like 130 and change or something. That was 130 upper stages to be manufactured. That is a lot. That's a lot of rockets. That's more upper stages than most rockets have flown, period.
Ever.
Like,
yeah.
You remember that? You remember Ryan, the spaceflight enthusiast, did a...
that spaceflight enthusiast who's on our team?
You mean Mr. Math?
Yeah. He did that whole stat breakdown where Falcon 9 flew almost as many times as the shuttle did in 30.
Which is so wild.
Yeah.
There's bound to be roadblocks like this because they got to keep going. You got to keep going. You don't get it back. I think this is gonna. I'm not gonna say that SpaceX is gonna have problems. I wouldn't wish failure on anybody. If anybody has the chops to get this right, they will. But I mean, okay, it's like I'll just get to the point.
Chad is fighting over who gets whose neobium. Anyways, continue.
What?
Chad's fighting about neobium. I mean, I don't know. If there's neobium, you better watch out because Chad's coming for it.
Well, actually, you'd be fine because Neo's pretty good at dodging stuff. So.
I lost my train of thought. Dang it, man.
Oh, I killed you. I killed your train of thought. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I did. I'm sure. But anyway.
It was a team effort, Sawyer.
But still, yeah, I mean, it's impressive the rate at which they're doing this. And again, we've said this pretty much with all of the issues that they've had with the second stage, is the fact that it's a numbers game. I mean, your car, let's say you drive your car 400 times and one day a spark plug goes. That's about the rate we're talking here. If every 400 flights you have an issue that pops up, then you're doing pretty good. Even though, again, we're talking 3 of them in the last 6 months, let's say. How many have they launched in the last 6 months? We're talking nearly 100 launches in those 6 months. For something as complex as a rocket second stage, that's pretty darn good.
Yeah, no disagreements here.
Yeah, I agree. I think if anybody has the chops to solve this, so yeah, I mean, I know we were disagreeing like a second ago, but yeah, if anybody has the chops to solve this, it's SpaceX. Secondly, they already have a fix for this issue. Starship is the fix for this issue. That's where I was going with that.
Bringing it back to Starship. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I mean, yeah, a reusable upper stage is going to change everything in the same way that a reusable first stage changed everything, and hopefully we get there sooner rather than later.
And then the Gear Wars changed everything too.
The Gear Wars did change everything.
Yeah.
Which one of us is Rick and which one of us is Bird Person? And who's the gear? I forget the gear guy's name.
Call him Gearhead, all right? Just call him that. That's what he responds to. Call him Gearhead. Oh, geez, I'm Jack. I don't think we should do that. That's really messed up.
No, I thought I was Bird Person. If you're Rick, I thought okay. No. Well, okay. Gamer
no,
IO.
Sawyer is.
I'll just be Morty then. It's fine.
No, Jack's Morty.
Then who am I?
Bird Person.
I'm Bird Person?
Yeah, Bird Person's the man.
I know. That's why I'm confused that it's me. Thank you.
What are you expecting me to insult you?
Sorry, Morty.
Oh, geez. Gamer IO, thank you for the support. They say, amen, you need all the rockets to thrive, not just one company. And
That's right.
Rockhounds, thank you for the support. They say, what if Jared just privatized NASA and used NASA is in charge of... What if Jared just privatized NASA and used NASA is in charge of launches and landings and SpaceX does the innovation? Sorry, I had to really try hard to
Just
read
had a
that.
stroke from that with the flashing.
Have you ever had a dream
You could do anything?
You need to do so much that you could do anything?
Why do they call it lift off when they out the rocket in the atmosphere on? I don't know. I can't do that. I never can do that one whenever I try.
How do they put your face up on the screen and you're big and how?
We're doing great this week, you guys.
Oh, this is fantastic. Good news is we have This Week in Spaceflight coming up, which if you actually want to know what happened this week and learn in a serious tone, you've got that. Otherwise, you have us boneheads.
Hey.
I didn't even see a message in the back channel saying to do that. You just did it. You just knew
I just
to
did.
do
Oh yeah,
it.
there was no message to do it. That's coming up after the flame trench though, so make sure you stick around after so you can watch that too. And I already did our socials plug, which again we're on Instagram, Facebook, X, Blue Sky,
GeoCities, Live Journal,
TikTok.
MySpace.
Are you on InstaFace too?
No, I'm on Faceagram.
I got Gamecast.
I'm on Xface. It's fine.
You know, if you open up that Gamecast, there's probably like several iPods and like some hard drives in there. No? Okay. I don't know. What do we want to do? We want to move on to the next topic? Do we still want to yell about things? Do we have any?
I always
second
want to
stage
yell about
thoughts?
things, but
Loud noises.
get off my yard.
All right, moving on. Cool. So I guess this is the part where we get to talk about Starship. Yay!
I think that's what people are waiting for.
Yeah, so SpaceX has been ramping up the road closures and all of the different little nuggets of information that we get pre-launch. They tested out the Raptor quick disconnects the other day. The all the 20 little mounty guys on the orbital launch mount that help start up the outer 20 Raptors. So that's like a normal thing we see before a booster rollout. And installation on the mount after a launch. They got to test out the booster QD. They got to test out those Raptor QDs on the mount. And lo and behold, we have a road closure this morning, like at midnight tonight, for what we think is going to be a booster roll. So booster 15 will likely be rolling to the pad this morning, tonight, whatever, you get it. Booster 15 is going to be rolling to the pad. We expect they're going to static fire it based on some of the road closures that are scheduled. You can see there, primary date being the 8th for that roll, which is the 12 to 6 a.m. closure. And then there is a primary date for the 9th, which would be Sunday, from 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. That would be another roll, presumably. And then there's even more stuff on the 10th, which would be Monday, 12 a.m. to 4 a.m., 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., 12 p.m. to 4 p.m., and 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. Those are all potentially like different transport windows. Yeah. Either way, lots of road closures going up, and possibly, finally, after the last flight, some more hardware out at the pad, which is always a good thing. And based on all these transport closures, who knows? Maybe also more hardware out at Massey's. Maybe we see them roll out Ship 34 and static fire that puppy as well, and then they'll have both halves of the stack to ready to go for the next flight, which is of course Flight 8. So that's kind of the state of play with the Flight 8 vehicles and what we're looking at there in terms of rolls.
Ooh, cranes.
Go ahead.
Cranes? Is that a crane right there?
There do be cranes there.
Oh, I love those things.
Sorry, Gage, they're the mechanical kind.
Yeah. Gage does love birds. But But yeah, other than that, at the launch site, this has been a big week for the chopsticks because they are reeving the cable, which is apparently the term of art for pulling the cable around the various pulleys and mechanisms in the tower and on the chopsticks themselves. So teams are wasting no time at all getting those chopsticks connected to the tower and ready to be used? Question mark. I don't know how to put it delicately, but for a long time I've been disregarding the idea of a catch-only tower, and I still think a catch-only tower is dumb. But based on how we know that they want to catch a ship soon, and based on how quickly they're working on these chopsticks, at the same time as getting everything else on the pad working.
By the way,
if you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say really quick. It's crazy that I can make 2 Matrix references in one show. We're talking about reeving.
Keanu reeving?
You got it.
Nice.
Sorry.
Now I
totally
lost my train of thought. Completely just shoop.
I'm so sorry.
They're reeving
my
the
brain.
cable. You got to wind the cable around all the mechanisms. It's not the actual cable yet. It's orange. It's an orange cable. So they'll string it all up. They'll get it all right, and they'll pull the main cable through. But if you told me that the first Starship catch happens on Tower 2, on like Flight 9 or 10, I wouldn't necessarily discount that possibility. Discuss. What do you think, EJ? First ship catch on Tower 2 or no? I see we have people asking this exact question too. Like Yvonne Mush 2700 is asking, when will be the first chopstick catch at Tower B? I mean, I honestly think perhaps as soon as Flight 9, if Flight 8 goes well. I don't know.
Yeah. I think Flight 8. I think if Flight 7 had gone well, I think Flight 8 would have been a catch. But Flight 7 didn't go well. So Flight 8 is probably going to have to do what Flight 7 is going to do. And then depending on how that goes, we'll see with Flight 9. But, Jack, I understand the reason why they want to do catching with the second tower. It's to retire risk. The program's still very much in development. There's a lot of things in flux. There's a lot of things that are changing at this particular point. But you got to remember, the whole thing is on a deadline. SpaceX is beholden to NASA to deliver that dang old lander. They have to. That is one of the biggest contracts that the Starship program has. It's to the tune of like $2.1 billion. HLS, they have to have HLS ready. So there is a time frame here. So I think that not even SpaceX wants to do like a dedicated catch tower, right? Because they're obviously building a pad with this one, right? However, schedule is denoting your architecture here, which that's fine. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Apollo did that. It seemed to work pretty well, right? So I think because they have a lot of Starship missions, a lot of testing to get done, I think they're scaling to HLS not scaling to HLS. HLS is kind of their end game. But to support an architecture like what HLS has to do, there has to be a lot of Starships, there has to be a lot of catches, there has to be a lot of super heavies, there has to be a lot of stuff going on, right? And they got to move fast. You have to move quick. You got to move quick. So I think in that regard, they're launching with one, catching on the other, because if they launched and caught on one, you're potentially looking at taking down your only functioning pad at this point. That's not a good idea, because it's going to take not to Ryan Weber, you guys, but hi Ryan. It's going to take a while for Pad 2 to get like fully operational. I mean, personally, I don't think it's going to take too long, but in the interim time, like say it takes 5 months to get Pad 2 going, right? 5 months is not a lot of time. There's a lot of stuff that you could be doing. There's a lot of testing you could do 2 test flights in that amount of time with the cadence that SpaceX is going at right now. And remember, 2026 is right around the corner. Or, say SLS gets delayed, or the other thing that we talked about, 2027, 2028. That is not a long way away. So, long story short, they got to get ship catching down sooner rather than later, and this is the easiest way to do it without completely screwing the timeline on the entire program.
Yeah, makes sense. I do think it's like you said, it's a matter of expediency, and we will certainly get to a point where they're launching, catching a booster and ship on the same tower at some point. Who knows?
So, but with the OLM and all of the digging still going on and everything in that area, could it be a point where they would have to catch it without a launch mount to put it back on?
Oh, for
Just
sure.
Catch it, and then put it onto a transport stand. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking about readiness, let's say even for Flight 10.
Well, the ship wouldn't go on the mount one way or the other. The ship would have to be put on a transport stand no matter what. But
What I mean is that the pad itself wouldn't be fully ready and operational, shall we say, for a full flight.
No, in fact, they'd even have to probably dig or pave or flatten some sort of area so that the SPMTs could even roll up and be in the right spot for the chopsticks to set a ship down.
That's basically what I'm trying to get at, is the fact that even if we're talking Flight 9, Flight 10, is that all going to be done in time at that point?
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
To where it can be at a catch area where it's not going to destroy any of the other work that they're already doing.
Yeah,
where they can get all this stuff out. And you say, it's fine.
Sawyer,
we need to get to that point.
I've seen entire signs and murals and scenic vistas come and go at the drop of a hat out here. They can flatten out some land and drive some SPMTs under the second chopsticks. No problem.
We're not talking about adding or moving letters from a wall or removing that wall or adding more walls.
That was wetlands. Then it was flatlands. Then it was a parking lot with a wall. Then it was a parking lot with a wall with a sign. And then it was flatlands again. And now it's a launch pad. And it hasn't even been a year.
Yeah, but I feel like it's different if we're talking about something that's a sign and a mural versus, the launch pad.
My point being, a little bit of dirt work is no big deal for SpaceX. Like they can make a little platform for the SPMTs to drive up and grab the ship. In the meantime, while they're
I still feel like we would see a catch first on the main tower before the second tower.
Maybe.
Really?
Well, we will see. I mean, I definitely don't portend to know one way or another how this is going to play out, but it definitely seems like they're working their butts off to get Tower 2 ready one way or the other, right?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, sorry, I got a question for you. I want to pick your brain here for a little bit for a second. You say they're not going to land a ship on a pad that's potentially uncompleted, right? Because you risk damaging the pad, right?
Yeah.
What if the OLM can be removed from said pad, like a mobile launcher? Then you're retiring risk there, because you don't have to worry about damaging your multi-billion-dollar launch mount when you go to try to catch a ship, right? Right? What do you think about that, huh? Yeah?
I mean, I still like the idea of that, but I don't. I just feel like at this point they would use the tested hardware that they know works. They've launched before. They've caught boosters on it before. Hey, did you hear it? They caught a booster.
They caught a booster?
They caught a booster. But yeah, I don't know. It would be very cool. I mean, I'm excited to see that first catch regardless, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see how far things progress.
One thing you can see is an article from our very own Ryan Webby Weber on some random fly-by-night website called NASASpaceflight.com.
Geosite.
GeoCities.
GeoCities, yes.
GeoCities.
Ask Jeeves.
Oh my God, Ask Jeeves. Oh my God. ChatGPT is basically modern Ask Jeeves. Anyway.
Yeah, you're right. That's basically what they were trying to do, huh?
Yeah. And I mean, in it does say that is their plan in these articles, which, sorry to interrupt you teasing this article.
No. The article is exactly Ryan mentions the whole Tower 2 ship catch thing in the articles. Anyways, moving right along, Bideford with a $50 super. Thank you, Bideford. Always popping in on the Trench and other streams to say, finally able to enjoy my 3 favorite Flame Trench nerds. Great time to be on with you all. No margaritas tonight, EJ. Maybe a glass of wine in a few. Nice.
No margaritas.
Why does she?
Who
She
are you?
always does not.
And what have you done with Bideford?
I guess she thinks I don't like margaritas or something. Only you can like margaritas. Apparently, Mr. Spicy Tequila himself doesn't like margaritas or something. What am I, chopped liver?
No, you're
with a margarita?
Wait, Yeah. We'll go with that. Your chopped liver, yes. Yes.
Honestly, with your face covered like that, with just the beard and the mouth, it does kind of look like it.
Stop it, stop it, Sawyer. Be nice.
Not today.
No.
Apparently not today.
Sawyer over here is getting back to his roots, where where we're from. Insulting somebody is the greatest compliment that you can give them. So get out of here.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Get out of here. Putz.
So yeah, that's Starship. Am I right? I have no idea where to even go from here.
Tubes.
No, that's
Probably onto a piece of toast. That's pretty good with it.
Huh?
Chopped liver on toast.
Is that a thing?
Oh, high five!
Hey, look, flyover photos.
All
Yay.
right,
Who took those?
squirrel.
I loved these just because of the shadow on the shadow on the dry lake bed or dry bay bed, whatever you want to call it, the playa. I don't know, whatever the proper term for it is. Very satisfying.
The Mesa.
In addition to the chopstick stuff, we do have the FCC information that came out saying net 24th for a launch, but that's just FCC. That's not like it's useful to have a no earlier than, but it's not really a meaningful date. But another one of those sort of tea leaves that we can keep our eyes out open for. So if you're wondering when Flight 8 and if you're trying to start thinking about travel, sometime end of February, beginning of March seems like a good idea. But yeah. Oh, look, a chopstick actuator is in the air.
Where?
That was delivered to the launch site earlier today. So another one of those big hydraulic actuators getting lifted. Again, they're not wasting any time with the old getting those chopsticks on Tower 2 up and running.
I mean, they are proceeding with that. I talked about it before, but I mean, they are going really quickly with the building of that second tower, getting everything assembled and all of that. It's kind of like, again, with the most recent Cape flyover, which you haven't seen it yet, you absolutely should watch it. It's kind of fun to compare where the Cape is at with building their orbital launch mount to the photos that you just got on the flyover that was on Starbase Update this week. I mean, the speed at which they are going with all of this Starship production is just bonkies.
I mean, they better, right? Like they have Artemis contracts to fulfill. It looks like they lowered the actuator again, of course. Also for now. But we'll keep our eyes on it. Of course, Starbase Lab exists, and we are keeping our eyes on all the progress. It really, like, to your point, Sawyer, it really shows the dividends that pre-assembling as much of those tower segments or modules or whatever you want to call them ahead of time on the ground with all the GSE and everything, like that really paid off. They were able to just go stack super fast, no problem. All the pre-work they did on the chopsticks, so they don't have to have 20 different aerial work platforms with people like welding and bolting things on and everything. And I really do wonder. We think a lot about the machine that builds the machine, and we talk a lot about the Star Factory expansion at Roberts Road. Kind of deal, and we talk a lot about all the parts and pieces that we can see. I can't help but think that there are people inside of SpaceX that are thinking really hard about and working really hard on almost assembly lining the materials for a launch site. Does that make any sense? Like, how many tower segments did SpaceX order at once when they ordered tower segments? They called up the manufacturer and like, yeah, give us, I don't know, N number of these, right?
How many you want?
How much did they order?
Yes.
All of them.
Keep making them. We'll tell you when to stop. But no, like that's what they're going to have to do, though, right? Like they're going to have to assembly line eyes. My brain. I'm sorry. They're going to have to manufacture launch pads at scale, and not just one little bespoke launch pad here or there. They're going to have to put 2 at 37. They're going to have to put another one at 39, maybe. They're going to have to put some out at Slick 6. They're going to need more everywhere. And that's not even thinking about point to point. Just talking about Artemis and getting to Mars and getting literally 100 ships ready to go on a transfer window. They're going to need a lot of pads. EJ, you're nodding your head a lot.
I agree with everything you're saying. I think it's important to understand that they're under the gun, and what SpaceX is trying to do, their expectations for this project aren't just making something that's fully reusable. It's making something that can be mass produced that's fully reusable as well. They're just ticking all the boxes. Like somebody's crazy Kerbal creation, man. Oh no, don't show this.
Does this make you sad or mad? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Me too.
I
Me too,
imagine.
man. I was not super stoked. I mean, I was stoked to get to
Sad New
shoot
England
something
and
so
noises.
beautiful. I was not stoked that it did not get to be a museum. It's like, what a beautiful machine.
It doesn't belong in a museum. It deserves to be a museum, Jack.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's just.
By the way, while we're just really quick with the towers, can I just point out the amazing fact that they have a tower already up in Florida they haven't used yet. They built another tower in Florida and said, you know what, here, you take it, Starbase.
Yeah.
We're going to build another one for us here. And they're already, mounts and things on the ground for where they're going to start doing it again.
Right. That's sort of exactly what I was thinking of and getting at, Sawyer, is like how many of these segments.
Stop.
Oh, boys.
Speaking of transporting Starship to
All right,
Florida.
just really quickly, just to get it out of the way, because I know there's going to be some Marine wonk in chat who's like, this is not a ship that's good for that. It's built for speed, which means it has no stability, etc. I don't care. Take all of your rational arguments and actual physics and engineering and just know that I appreciate you. I appreciate your expertise. I don't care. This is so cool. I wish this was the timeline that we lived in. Anyways, I'm done yelling. Somebody else talk.
Thomas Hayden, by the way, shout out to Thomas Hayden who did this render of what it would look like if you laid Starship on its side on the USS John F. Kennedy. And
Turns
Alex
out-
also pointing out that the asteroid that we talked about earlier is actually smaller than this aircraft carrier.
Oh, no kidding. Turns out aircraft carriers are frickin' big, y'all. And it's like one of the few things I think could actually make a Starship look tiny. Like, how cool is that? How neat is that? You could put a couple on there. Heck, do a bandolier of Starships on the deck. Like, let's go. Who doesn't want
Not
that?
only
We're
that,
sending tower segments out to SpaceX and McGregor from here. Send us some Starships that way.
you get no argument from me, guys. I mean, Jack, the real thing is, how tall's the hangar deck in that thing?
Not tall enough.
Not only is it? Are we sure?
No, I'm not sure, but I don't. Hang on. You talk. I'll Google.
think about this for a second. You have a really huge chance to be able to have something here that could move like 4 or 5 stacks of Starship inside. You don't have to put it on the top of the deck, so it's not. So you do that so it's not susceptible to all the saltwater conditions, right? That's why there's a hangar deck in the first place. That's why the Navy builds those, right? This thing has everything you need to
Regarding
move
the
like 3 or 4
dimensions
stacks.
of the hangar doors, they're not readily available on public sources.
Yeah, I was going to say you probably shouldn't
Thank you,
Google that.
military.
However, it's notable that many U.S. Navy aircraft carriers, including the John F. Kennedy, do not have traditional hangar bay doors. Instead, they utilize partitions or curtains.
They do.
So
Yep.
maybe we'd be more limited by the elevators than any specific door kind of situation.
Just put the elevator down, roll that sucker right into the hangar deck.
I'm sold, dude. I'm sold.
You need a breakover fixture, right? But the ship is totally stripped. James, don't get real on us.
Yeah, we said
Right?
we don't care. We're not talking
We set
about
up the premise here that we don't have to be realistic because I don't want to see this beautiful ship get scrapped.
Thank you.
Right? That's the premise for the argument.
Yes.
Okay? I know. And we shouldn't even be calling it the Kennedy. It's the X Kennedy. It was stricken from the Naval
There's a new
Register.
one. There is a new one.
The John X. Kennedy.
I see what you did there.
Anyway,
Like-
yeah.
But
This is
also,
the thing.
you're telling
Please.
me you don't want to see an aircraft carrier full of starships and super heavies? You telling me you don't want to see that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was America.
I'm sorry. I thought this was America. I didn't hear no bell. I mean, they actually removed the bell from the ship too, but that's
Well, yeah,
Oh.
I was surprised, honestly, when it came in. When it came in, it still had a flag flying. Like I don't know what the maritime protocols are or what have you, but it was like, oh look, they still have a flag on it. That's kind of nice.
They have the flag on there, but the ship. So there's rigging, and I'm not. Forgive me, Navy people. I know I'm not saying it right, but I know enough to know this. There's rigging on the top of the ship, and they would be, it would be showing the ship's call sign. So this would be like JFK. It would have JFK and with Navy flags,
Right.
Naval semaphore. That's what would be up there. I mean, amongst other things, like.
Yeah.
But
if
yeah,
only
the
we
flag
knew
on
someone
there
that
is
worked
cool.
on an aircraft carrier museum that may be able to help with that. Oh, by the way, you can see Alicia coming up in 30 minutes right here on NSF for This Week in Spaceflight.
Sir, can we get like what blood type are you? Can we do like a plasma transfusion? Can I do like one of those weird like anti-aging things with you where I just get some of your blood and I'm like, it makes me feel great. Like you're firing on all cylinders today, my guy.
Here's the thing though, whenever they try and get my blood type, everyone always tells me, be positive, be positive. What if I don't want to be positive today? What if I want to be sad?
Do you want to be negative?
Sometimes.
That's not how blood works at all.
Anyway, Alicia there joining us in chat as well, so excited for that.
Oh, she's in chat? I'm curious, Alicia, how does seeing the JFK scrapped make you feel as someone who works on an aircraft carrier? A museum ship, no less. That's the thing, is the JFK was slated as like available for an organization to take on as a museum ship and it sat for years, and then nobody said, gimme. So
yeah, they tried to raise enough money for it, but they didn't raise enough, which sucks. But like, okay, so the reason why we're bumming about this, guys, just in case anybody's wondering, like, it
goes back to last week. It's empathy for the machine.
I mean, yeah, Jack, there's that, but the JFK, its hull numbers was CV67, and then the next carrier, so CV68 is not CV68, it's CVN68, which is the Nimitz. N being the operative thing here, there's the big difference between a CV and a CVN. It's nuclear. Yep. The JFK, along with the three other kind of Kitty Hawk aircraft carriers, were the last aircraft carriers that we really could make museum ships because
they're not nuclear.
They're non-nuclear. It has if I'm, once again, Squids, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe JFK had oil-fired bunker C boilers.
I'm also not a maritime expert, but I do love stuff like this, as you can tell. My understanding is that JFK was supposed to be the first nuclear carrier, and they ended up, I don't know what the reason, they ended up not putting nuclear reactors in it and ended up leaving it fossil fuel powered. But it was like super modified compared to the other Kitty Hawk class carriers and was basically in a class of its own as a single ship that no other ship was like, which is part of why it's so freaking sad to see it get, like, there's no other ship like this. There's no other ship like this. And to your point, all the ones after this, which again are not the same, also were nuclear vessels. And so good luck making a museum ship out of that. Like, all that stuff's still classified.
If you want to safe the nuclear reactor, you got to cut the ship in half, basically. Like, they're not making those museum ships. So it's kind of sad that this is the last one that could have been a museum ship, and we're choosing to make it into washing machines instead. That's great. Lovely.
We can take solace in the idea that perhaps some of the steel in the former JFK will get smelted down and mixed with other steel and rolled into a roll of perhaps type 30X stainless, perhaps at 4 millimeters in thickness, and perhaps someday some of the molecules that made up the JFK end up in a Starship. How about that? I'm trying to be optimistic. It's so not in my nature. Can you tell?
No, couldn't tell at all. Which I am optimistic, though, that we can get another opinion in on this. If anybody knows about floating museums, I think it would be Alicia, because I used to work on the Intrepid years ago, and Alicia currently works on the Intrepid. Hi, Alicia. Are you joining us?
Did I hear Intrepid? Did I hear aircraft carrier? Can you guys...
Yeah, we can hear you.
What up?
Hi. Yeah, well, I mean, I was obviously just, hanging out watching. Yeah, I have some thoughts about aircraft carriers being turned into museums and other things. That's a very good point, EJ, what you were talking about with like the nuclear thing. Of course, that doesn't stop some museums from still having nuclear weapons carrying submarines parked next to them, like we do. But that's a good point. So, like, it is an Essex class carrier. It's like very old school. It served from World War II through the Vietnam War. Obviously, aircraft carriers today look different. The Intrepid actually looked completely different when it was first commissioned versus what it looks like now, because, of course, they were using propeller planes, things like the Avenger that we have, the bomber, the torpedo bomber. And then eventually they started introducing jet planes and, all this newfangled technology. And as a result, like, even the flight deck got completely reshaped to avoid, collisions when they were coming in. And so it's definitely changed over time. They're bigger. They do different things. I'm sure there's a lot more people that serve on it now. Of course, there's men and women now. There was not back when Intrepid was in service. It is a museum ship. I should also plug, actually, guys, I might throw this in the chat too. We are currently up for top ship museum with USA Today right now. I think you have a couple more days that you can vote on it, so I have to give a shameless plug. Please do that if you can. But there's a lot of them, obviously. They all have very different character. And there's other really cool stuff that can be done with them, too, besides just turning them into a museum. I really want to call out something that I recently discovered, which is the Oriskany. The Oriskany was an aircraft carrier that was sunk off the coast of Pensacola to become an artificial reef. And so essentially, they take out all of the things that could be harmful for all of the marine life. They sink it, and now all of this coral and everything has grown on it, and it's home to the fishies down there, and you can actually go and scuba dive it. Unfortunately, when they sunk it, they kind of messed up and made it a little bit deeper than normal recreational divers can do. I actually am getting scuba certified. I just got scuba certified, actually. I'm getting my advanced in water soon. But that's how I know about this, because I'm looking for cool places to dive. And of course, I have to go because it's also an Essex class carrier. So I just think it would blow my mind to go scuba diving and be able to like find my office underwater or something.
That would be really cool. Wait, so do you have to do trimix or something because it's so deep?
Yeah, so it's deeper than even open or advanced open water divers. So I think I forget how deep it is. But what happened essentially is they sunk it, meaning for it to be regular for recreational. And then there was like a hurricane or something, and it like shifted and it kind of fell on its side a little bit. So now it's just like a little bit deeper. So you have to be a tech diver to be able to do that. And also it's huge. Like like you guys were saying, aircraft carriers are gigantic. We always say if you turned it on its side, it would be just about as tall as the Chrysler building here in New York, the Intrepid would. So the Oriskany also, that long. So in order to explore the whole thing, yeah, you'd need to bring a ton of tanks or, go multiple days. But I just think it'd be really cool to go do that. But that's something that they do. They did that with subway cars with New York as well. In the 60s, they had a bunch of subway cars called the Redbirds that in particular were great for this because they didn't have a lot of plastic or anything in them. So they took all the stuff that wasn't good for the fish and everything out, and they sunk them off the coast of the Carolinas. And so there's a bunch of subway cars that are now artificial reefs that you can also go scuba diving around too. So who knows, maybe, all of these, I'm really fascinated by the idea of what happens to these like stages that just fall into the ocean, all these boosters that, didn't quite make it and end up underwater. Like, can I go scuba dive these things? Like, can I go explore them? And also like first of all, like environmentally, any, propellants or anything that are still kind of floating around in there, that's probably not great. But I'm just curious what that's going to look like in the future now if we have all of this, I don't know, just these expended stages, this debris and everything falling down into the ocean. I don't know. It's just an interesting thought of other things that you can do, with ships or with old spacecraft.
I really do wish they were doing something with the JFK, like an artificial reef or what have you. Like, I'm assuming they're just going to leave it in port, beach it, and then cut it up for scrap, which is so unceremonious, At least if they do it something like an artificial reef, it's like you said, people can continue to enjoy it, people can go visit it, It serves a purpose for the ecosystem. That's just a shame to see it cut up for scrap.
Yeah, and Intrepid is actually supposed to also be cut up for scrap too, but it had such a fabled history that it was saved. The Fisher family actually rescued it from the scrapyard to convert it into a museum. Opened in '82. So we got lucky. I don't know if maybe there's some philanthropists out there that'd be interested in trying to save this one, but I don't know what's happening with it. Are they scrapping it for metal and giving it to Starbase then, or what's the point of it being over there?
Brownsville, the port of Brownsville is just a big port for shipbreaking. Lots of warships come through here, and this is historically where they have scrapped a variety of aircraft carriers. I think because Mary and I drove out to the jetties to shoot it coming in, and she mentioned this was like the third or fourth one that she'd seen come in over the years. So Port of Brownsville is just a big, one of the things the Port of Brownsville does is scrap these large older ships and scrap oil rigs. I mean, Blue Origin's original landing vessel, the original Jacqueline, yeah, it came here to be scrapped, which was delightfully ironic. Of course, the two oil rigs that SpaceX briefly owned, Phobos and Deimos, they were originally here to be scrapped, and then weren't, and then were, and then weren't. So yeah, it's just I guess part of what the Port of Brownsville does.
Yeah, and the other nice thing again with something like the Intrepid is that you have people that care. Sure, it adopted the '80s and everything, and then they did a huge maintenance on it, right, Alicia? They revamped it, made it really nice again, and it's spectacular while still keeping its original era charm.
Right, definitely. And of course, we still have our former crew members that come and they keep it alive and tell their stories. We have a lot of work that we do with oral histories. We always have a commissioning anniversary every year. And of course, on the big ones, we bring in whoever's still around. Sadly, we've lost many of them, but yeah.
It's so important that stuff like stories like that get shared and told, because there's so much just institutional knowledge and wisdom that otherwise could just be lost.
We'd have things real fast, actually, since I'm on here. This is completely unplanned, everyone. I swear this wasn't like something we planned to throw in here. First of all, I'm throwing the link for the voting thing in. We're really trying to do the best we can. We have no idea where we're ranking right now, but we would love it if you guys would be so generous as to vote for us. You can vote every day until February 10th. And please do. You can vote on your phone and your browser, and you can open incognito browsers as many times as you want and vote too. So please vote.
We don't get
Hint.
The president of our museum sent us an email being like, I didn't tell you this, but.
Susan's awesome. Of course she would say that.
So there's that. Thank you guys for spamming that. And then, oh gosh, so Kids Week, which is a huge part of my job there, is coming up. So look at you guys, this is amazing. Kids Week is at February 15th through 22nd. So it is this big annual festival that we've had for so many years now, and it's geared specifically towards kids, obviously Kids Week, and we always hold it the same time every year because that's when the New York City area schools have off. So parents are looking for something to do with their kids, and we provide it. So the first 3 days are always our big space days. We always have a lot of NASA divisions come in. Unfortunately, some of them at the last minute had to pull out due to some of the political climate right now. But we still have some NASA people coming, as well as a bunch of other really cool space partners too. Then we've got some arts and culture days. We've got a lot of museums and performance groups from around the city that are coming in. And then the last 4 days after that are the nature and STEM days. So we have zoo animals come and a lot of robotics and all sorts of things. But yeah, we've got our big Astro Live, of course, on Sunday at 3, like we normally do anyway with you guys, but we're filming that one on site. We're going to be having Jeanette Epps, who is a current NASA astronaut. She just came back, I think, last year from her mission. And so she's going to be there in conversation with Mike Massimino, like they do. Daz will be on site. The two of us, I think, are also going to be doing that walk around that we normally do with all of the space partners on Saturday also. So keep an eye out for the members stream for that. And yeah, it's just a really fun time. If you happen to be in the New York City area, come on out, check it out. It is just it's our big Super Bowl event, honestly. This one in Fleet Week, which of course aircraft carriers too. But yeah, this is our big Kids Week event. It's so much fun. We've got so many cool partners coming in, and we're really excited.
If someone has kids or they want to bring them out for Kids Week, like, do they need to do anything? Do they need to sign up? Like, what do they need to do, or just like show up on one of the days?
It's free with admission, absolutely. Yeah, you just show up and come on in, and yep, everything is free. If you go to the website intrepidmuseum.org, and you have to scroll down a little bit to find it, I think. But I think they also put the link in chat for that one too.
Awesome.
The Kids Week page. It's got the schedule breakdown of everyone who will be there every day. It'll have the schedule of the performances. We're having authors come doing readings. We're having a big balloon artist come in again. He made a giant space shuttle last year, which was like the coolest thing ever. We've got, like I said,
Wait, did the SRBs detach? Did the balloon SRBs detach?
In fact, they sort of deflated as the week went.
Oh.
But it looked super cool. That's one of the things in the clips, I think, actually. We've got some really interesting other partners, too. We've got, of course, the 501st is going to be there, the Star Wars characters. We've also got this new group coming in, the Saber Guild, that specifically teach kids how to use lightsabers and how to, battle and stuff, which is so cool. Miss New York, USA is going to be on site talking about, she's actually a data scientist, and so she's very much about girls in STEM and coding and stuff, so she's going to be doing a talk. We've got performances from like Pinkalicious. We've got like I said, the zoo animals come in. Everyone always loves the kangaroo that we have that comes. It's a baby kangaroo. I got to hold it last year. It was the coolest thing ever. But all sorts of stuff, like I said. So Gazillion Bubble Show is always a big hit too. This performance group here in New York that does this show with bubbles. It's like absolutely wild, and the kids lose their minds because there's just bubbles everywhere.
Kids love bubbles.
Have bubble bouncers in front of the stage to keep them from climbing under the stage to pop the bubbles. It's wild. But yeah, so whether you have kids or you are just a kid of any age, we encourage you to come out and explore and have fun. And also, of course, if you can't make it now, just come back anytime. We always have our amazing artifacts. We've got the Enterprise. We've got the Concorde. We've got the A-12.
Conky.
We've got... Oh, we're not doing that again, no.
It's conky. It's conky.
No, we've
Shut
got
up,
so many
Jack.
cool aircraft. We've got the Growler, the submarine next to us. And of course, the aircraft carrier itself, Intrepid, that you can explore as well.
Heck yeah.
Come on by.
Well, there you go. Y'all head out to Kids Week if you're in the New York area. That's really. I wish I was going. I want to see the bubble thing. I want to see the bubble bouncers. Honestly, like I want to see a little kid get bounced.
Well, it's crazy. It's really crazy. Kids go nuts for bubbles, but yeah.
Go figure. All right, well, we'll let you go. Thank you so much for popping in and hanging out with us.
Absolutely, and everyone tune into Twist whenever that airs soon.
In
10
like
minutes.
11 minutes or so.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I sound terrible right now. I'm kind of sick, but fortunately, when I recorded it yesterday, I was still sort of okay. So I got to get better before Kids Week.
You sound fine. But yeah, heal up, drink some of that lemon tea that Das always talks about, and feel better.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone. Vote for Intrepid. Come to Kids
Bye.
Week.
Yeah,
Yes.
vote for Intrepid. Let's spam that link more.
I will say it's going to be tough for me to vote for Intrepid when Battleship Cove is on there. But
Explain yourself. How dare you?
I was going to before you interrupted me. Jeez, no. It's gonna be hard to vote for with Battleship Cove on there. That's the Battleship Cove is a battleship that's in Massachusetts, the USS Massachusetts. But I met my wife at Intrepid, so
Also,
gotta
EJ,
root for Intrepid.
I don't know if you remember, but there was some random Twitch viewer that became a Twitch streamer that happened to be a education consultant at the Intrepid. And hey, do you remember who was at the first ever live stream from the Intrepid on Twitch?
Was it the square hole?
The square hole. Yeah.
Yeah, that was EJ, Das, and myself. It was the three of us. I
jeez.
think it was 2014, all the way back
Jeez.
when. So it's been over 10 years since the first Intrepid stream, and all of what we're able to do here at NSF, and all of the things that we're able to partner with the Intrepid started 10 years ago. The seed was planted, shall we say?
How would you feel if Time Machine U appeared in that moment in 2014? It's like, hey, what's up? I'm you from 2025. Here's what's happening, and they like laid it all out. How would you feel like in that moment? Would you be like, holy cow, or would you be like, ew, I'm a loser?
I mean, I know
What
I'm
was
a
that?
loser, so that part's
Stop.
given. But
Stop.
I mean, I can't believe that I would be working with EJ and Das still today after that, just having met them online and just falling in love with their streams and Kerbal, and the fact that we are still friends all these years later and coworkers absolutely would blow my mind. And to see what this community has become, also that Starship is a thing, all of that would kind of just blow my mind. But I'm so glad that that happened and that the Intrepid and NSF work together. So please vote for the Intrepid.
Vote for the Intrepid.
What they do is absolutely amazing. And yeah, a lot of what we do here at NSF is thanks to them.
Absolutely.
Also, there's your Sawyer flex for the stream, is the fact that this all happened from that.
There's been like 10 of them. There's been like 10 of them. What do you mean for the stream? As if that was the first one that we've gotten all stream? No, sir.
Kind of is. But
No,
anyway.
sir. Bideford, thank you for another $50 super. They say, okay, Jack, when I show up down there for a launch, I'll buy you 2 margs. You are not chopped liver. Sawyer, you come down and I'll treat you to 2 margs as well. EJ, I expect you there. Got it?
Hi. All right.
Deal.
Heck yeah.
All
Thank
right.
you so much, Bideford. That's as always, fantastic amount of support. So there's nothing I can say that is adequate other than, ooh, margs.
Look at Kevin in the chat. Kevin asking, "Wait, you guys are friends?" Yeah. We just forgot to tell you that we all hang out. Sorry, man. I forgot to tell
We
you.
totally forgot to invite you. Don't tell them about the next time.
Speaking
sorry.
of
Just time got
being
away.
friends and hanging out, when are you coming back, EJ? When are you coming back? When are you coming back? My car's making this weird noise. I start it up, and then I start, when I'm rolling, it's like, squeaking. Like, I'm pretty sure it's the U joint on the drive shaft or whatever, the cardan joint, but, come back. I miss you.
All right.
Someone clip
All right,
that noise. I need a new text.
No, nobody needs that. I immediately regret my decisions. Nobody in the world needs that.
Squiggity. Oh, yeah. Gene's over in the chat. Gene's back from vacation. What's up, man?
Nice.
Yeah, we're rocking Flight. Yeah, of course we're rocking Flight 8, man. Of course. Dude, I got hold on. I got better paraphernalia this time around. Give me 1 second.
Ooh. No, like, really, though, having you and everybody here, Gene here, having the whole gang here, Dan, Das, everybody, I really felt on Flight 7 more able to focus on just making cool stuff rather than, like, making everything work. Ooh, new Pelican. Heck
Nice.
yeah. Got the
I
wheels
invested.
on there. That baby can hold so much streaming equipment. Slap the hood. Yeah. Heck yeah.
You can hold
baby.
so much streaming equipment in here.
Heck yeah. That's a fine piece of equipment right there, my guy. That's an
It's
investment.
great.
Welcome to
Oh,
the
yeah,
Pelican Club.
Pella Club, if you will.
Ooh, I think all 3 of us are members of the Pelican Club now.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're Clubicans.
Club Pelican.
so-
It's like Club Penguin, but worse.
What were you going to say, EJ? Please let it be literally anything else. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
I was going to say that this is for moving streaming setup that is designed to be, it's designed to be in a vehicle. So I have a streaming setup that I'm putting together for being able to just take this, right, put it in a car, open it up, and hit a button, live stream. Now I know people are saying, like, why don't you just use a laptop and Starlink? Well, it's a little more complicated than that. But let's just say we don't want like a super interrupted stream. Like, this thing is something that you don't even need the car. You should be able to just take it out of a car, like nuclear football style, and just go wherever.
So my question now becomes, do you have a biscuit? And do you have handcuffs? Sawyer, I don't want to hear a word out of your mouth. Handcuffs, so you can handcuff it to your wrist, like the Halliburton case with the nuclear football, and biscuit, because that's what they call a little plexiglass thing where you crack open the biscuit or the cookie and you take out the codes. That's, yeah. Sawyer, not a word. Not a word. Thank you.
Okay. Going full DOS mode. Yeah, Gene, I was inspired by, I mean, frankly, the DOS tracking camera setup was pretty cool.
It's fresh.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good, man.
Yeah, he was assembling it at the bunkhouse, and I was like, what monitor is that? Can you send me a link to that monitor?
Yeah, I may have already done that. I'm gonna be like, hey, what case is that? What case is that? Where'd you get that case from?
Heck yeah. No, that's like the sweet spot for a Pelican. Like, this is now case chat. That is like the sweet spot for a Pelican. I have a 1650, which is like the big, like double wide one, and I love that thing, and I've used it a whole bunch on set to carry a NAS or a RAID, plus a desktop, plus a monitor. But that thing's a chunk, even just the empty case itself, you lift it up and you're like, oh geez, that form factor is like, you picked right for the car purposes and for really just in general, for ease of use.
Yep.
Heck yeah,
man. It's yeah. So, when we get a little bit more of a word on when Flight 8 is going to happen, yeah, we'll go down. Have some fun.
I might have to bring my Pelican with it, and then we'll be Pelican gang.
Yeah.
It's the Pella Club. I want to thank some people, and we'll do a couple questions before we then get to watch the premiere of Twist. Hobie, thank you for becoming a Capcom member, and Telstar86, thanks for the support. They say, missed most of the Flame Trench because I was working, just thought I'd say hi to all the nerds. What's up, Telstar?
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. Hi.
Even Jake
hi.
me out and said hi.
Aw, that's adorable.
A couple people heard it, but yeah.
Gunfox is asking, your guess when Tower 2 will be ready for testing. I assume they mean the... we're already doing gifts.
In 3 it'll be ready, yeah.
We're doing
next
gifts?
Thursday.
All right, we're doing gifts.
It'll
okay.
be ready
The
next
elevator.
Thursday.
I thought we could answer the question really fast in like 2 minutes, but I guess we're doing gifts.
I just said that next Thursday.
I don't know. That's not a real answer. Give me a real answer.
It is a real answer. Google next Thursday as an answer.
Oh,
It is a real answer. I'm telling you. See?
Sure. You lost me, buddy.
Oh, wow. These are fast. Whoa. Those are some of the fastest gifts on the planet.
More gifts, more better? Question mark? No, don't show. Oh, I disappointed EJ. I disappointed him. Look, he shook his head at me. I'm sorry. I failed.
SMH my head.
You get an EJ head shake?
It's rare. It's a rare one. But yeah, thank you everybody for hanging out with us this week for the old trench. It is indeed the trenchiest. Of course, as we do every week, we want to thank our flight engineers and our launch directors, the 2 highest tiers of the membership program. So thank you to y'all. You get all of the perks, including your name at the end of the trench and other live streams that we do. So yeah, thank you so much to our launch directors and flight engineers. It's not every live stream, but it's like, some of them, especially the trench.
And
so thank you.
And thank you, Jack.
What, me?
Yeah.
No.
Why?
You're not gonna.
Because he's just chopped liver.
We're all friends right now for 40 more seconds, but you're gonna get real mad. You're gonna get real mad when you see what else my shirt says, because my shirt says "Train Good." It also says "Car Bad." Train good, car bad. You have 20 seconds.
Wait until the end for the reveal.
What are you going to do about it? Train good, car bad. Train good, car bad. A rebuttal in 15 seconds or less?
I don't think Jay Keegan's going to let that happen. Case in point. Thank you.
Thanks for watching, y'all. We'll see you next week. Train good, car bad.
And here we go.
chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, with planet.
Water towers fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside ST off. Bring in ST off. It's orange!
145! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage. Put that in the big bag, Jingle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
The methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?